Welcome everybody back to Tales of TPK, where you are now watching the 10th episode. So congratulations to the players for managing to survive to this point.
Yeah.
We are now joined by our new resident fodder, Luke.
Everyone.
He will be introducing his character in a bit when said character gets shown in the game. So we're gonna leave him off for a moment. We are going to go back to our dear players, where they're in a bit of an emotional state at the moment. They are all standing outside of the Peltier estate on the northern end, where there's a massive... Oh, that has changed. Oh no. Oh, I'm gonna have to fix that. But yeah, so there... Sorry, there's just a massive token that a Lamenta map that just kind of fucked me over, because up in the left side, it's not meant to be that... It's meant to be another picture. And it just looks hilarious. Yeah. Sorry. A dear friend to our players have... passed away is the wrong word for it. They have been turned, I suppose, is the right word for it. And turned into the big bad evil guy. So Morgan last session was writhing in nightmares during the night, and then as he woke up, everybody went on their day, did some research, found some things out, but then at the evening he was like, yeah, let's go to this place, I just want to check it out. And he had apparently made a pact with the god inside his book, Iltasuna. And the pact was to give Cohen back his soul and instead give his own, or give his body, or whatever it was that happened. The players are not certain yet. So we are going to, in a moment, continue the game right as the players are standing at his burial, but we are going to take an echo in the ether first. And unfortunately, I refreshed without loading it, so there is no write-up for this one, and instead we'll have to do it at the top of my head. So we zoom out and swoop to the southeast, where the ground is always frozen. You are seeing this massive cauldron, and within the cauldron you see several bands of warriors kind of moving northward towards the Ring of Iron. Now, the cauldron very long ago was once filled with water, but it is said that the god of light, Asalar, grew bored and wanted to test his powers and used just an ounce of it to incinerate this massive lake or even sea that was here before. But now it is simply filled with dead, charred bones. I mean, of course, you're dead if it's bones, I suppose. But the warriors are all moving northward to the city of Yorlithen. Yorlithen was once a city filled with 50,000 plus Anarians. Now it is barely a fifth of this. The blood war against the ogres have taken a huge toll against them. The houses that have stood empty for generations are now being filled with these warriors amassing from all over the world, as Roha, the tribe's leader of the Saranerians, have called in everyone for this last battle against the ogres. The leatherworkers, the smithies, the fletchers, and all manner of various spell weavers work all day to create equipment, to better the equipment, to fix salves and tools of war that they can use. And the mood is very depressed because nobody is certain if they're going to win this war. But their stubbornness are telling them that they have to go through with it. But none really remembers the reason as to why this war is even going on at this point, but they could never admit defeat. Never. Continuing a bit further north from the city of Yorlithim, you see an ogre-made city, one without name from the human side. They too are preparing for a war in similar fashion, and you see trains of warriors and soldiers moving throughout the ridges towards this city that seems to have become the focal point in the advance from either side. And many of the ogres too are wondering why they are doing this fight, but too stubborn of a race, equally as the Anarians, they will follow through this blood war. And the war that is to come, only one will be victorious, and the other race will be shamefully defeated and obliterated. So we leave this cold, frozen ridge and go back to the northwest and join the players in their sorrow. What do you call it? In their
mourning.
Mourning. Thank you. That is the word I was looking for. The floor is yours.
Is it still like just after we've been on the beach, or have we sort of...
I think you still are on the beach at the moment, actually.
Perhaps we need to get some food and raise a toast in hopes of finding him and the memories we've had so far.
You see... Oh,
sorry, I was going to just say start walking in, like, helping them along the way.
Yes.
Not pushing, of course.
You see his father kind of nod at this and turn and join you as you are walking back. Does everyone walk back?
Yep.
Okay.
Garris will stay for a moment, silently contemplating, and then move to join the others.
Okay. So you walk back to the estate, and you see the mother maniacally, just try to clean, to do something, to attempt to get her mind off whatever is going on. The father just calmly attempting to walk up to her, grab her shoulders, but she just flinches and shrugs him off. He just shakes his head and moves into the kitchen. Probably the first time in many years that he's been here, as you see him kind of try to find things, but it takes him a good while, and the things that he gets out as a food is just it's not food. It's like a snack maybe, but he hands it over, and you all are enjoying possibly peanuts and something else that's just he sits down, lights the fire, and just sits.
I will not really say that much, but just probably look around and see the discomfort probably in his wife, and maybe wait 30 minutes until he does anything else.
I think 30 minutes later she is still cleaning as folk.
Sort of look both to Garris and to Cohen, and then sort of towards Luther, I think his name was?
Yes, Luther is his name.
Perhaps we should leave. I don't know if it will help your wife, but maybe we are a unpleasant reminder at the moment.
cocks his head a little bit, I suppose. Just shakes. She mourns in her own way.
Everyone does. If we can help ease it, I don't mind. We don't want to be a burden on you any more than we have already been.
He just, again, shakes his head. Having you here will, in the end, do more good than bad.
I cannot stay. We have a debt to Morgan to fulfill. However difficult that may be.
The responsible must be found, and revenge might be small comfort, but it's what we strive for, at least. Permit us to stay. We will stay for maybe a night, but we have pressing matters.
I am not going to force you to stay here if that is not what you want.
We will take all the kindness we can get. You have given much already, and if you would permit us to stay, we would gladly take it.
Of course. I think silence is the last thing that would be good right now. So, anyone say anything? Do anything?
Stare into a drink.
Yeah. I can see that.
Thinking of happy stories to tell to ease our minds, but I have a few of those myself.
Garris is gonna get up and head out for a walk.
Okay.
I'm going to follow him at a distance.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm proficient in, like, I think card game, but I don't know what card game that would be. It would probably be later on, more in non-Anirian lands I would have learned it, but...
I think, like, for cards, I mean, in the kingdom, maybe I think what they would be playing most. I don't think the Anirians are very card gamey. I think they're more of dice people. So,
yeah, I'll probably perhaps we could play a game to distract ourselves. You know, this dice game.
he kind of nods and starts playing it with you to try and, yeah. Okay, so what is the two of you doing out in... Are you just taking a walk?
Does Garris notice Cohen following him?
Probably not. I mean, your passive perception is dipshit, isn't it? Yeah. So absolutely not. Like, you are way too preoccupied.
All right. Make my way to the library that's here in Lamenta.
Okay. So just for when you entered with what's his face, with Lucian. Luther, sorry. He showed a pass to get in through the gates. And when you went earlier today, like, he was there with you as well. So when you get to... Yeah, you head over there and, like, you get to the gates at this time of hour. You see it's closed. Do you knock or do you turn?
Do I see any openings in the gates? Anywhere I could possibly get through?
No.
All right. I'm going to try and do something a little creative here. Can I cast Enlarge / Reduce on myself to make myself smaller to slip through the doors? or the gate?
So it would be doors reduces you to one size. I would say like you can cast enlarge and very easily move over, but then everyone is probably gonna see you if they're looking.
What if I shrink the door?
I Okay, so I just want you to think through this. You are attempting to like cast something on a door so that will make it like it will destroy it if you do it, which I don't even know if it works. In a city of mages whom might take very offense to this. Like
There's no other obvious openings into the library. I'll just.
this is also so if you check like they have a tiny, very just wall outside. And then it is into the university, in through those doors, up through a pair of stairs, and then into another door. So it is like still a ways to go here.
Right. I don't know what the best course of action might be to fulfill this line. More or less, Garris is just trying to get to wherever you can find some books to just hopefully work towards working through what has happened.
Yeah, I think that's like best course of action. Probably go back and ask the father for the pass, or read any of all of those books that are there. Other than that, like it's entirely up to you.
I would just say that I'm not sneaking behind him. I'm just, walking behind him. So I would say if you turn, you would probably see me there after.
I think that you would probably even to the point, be there right behind him now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think like Garris probably stops and thinks through, this conversation that we've had here to kind of establish that it probably isn't a good idea.
Knock on the door, see if anybody answers. If not,
It's probably like almost midnight at this point.
all right. Start heading back.
You turn and you immediately see Cohen right there.
Hello, Cohen. How are you tonight?
Yeah. How are you? Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I
Sorry for. I should have done something sooner. For both of your sakes.
there's nothing you could have done. Really, if anything, yeah, I don't feel comfortable being in their home, seeing as yeah.
I want to hit up a tavern. Talk about old times. It's too painful to stay there. Too many memories, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Should I go and get Navin, or are you?
If you want. I don't really know.
Okay.
Sorry, Cohen. I really am. I'm not sure there's anything else I can say.
No, it's that's fine. Are you injured? and I just look him over, just trying to see if he is injured.
He has a few nicks and scrapes on him, but he seems very well put together at the moment. Physically, at least.
Alright.
What about you? You've lost a dear friend of yours, and a vital resource to yourself. I know the book was important to you, and Morgan more so.
To be honest, I learned that possessions, material possessions, is not something that, stays with me very long. So that is the least of my concern.
It's not something material that we lost today.
No, of course that is not. I didn't mean to say that. That is not at all what I meant.
I know.
I'm just trying.
Garris will move in
and-
gently and just hug him, just to if it seems reciprocating.
Yeah, I would say that I'm very like, just at first when you hug, I would say that I'm just stiff as a board, and then after a couple of seconds I return it. Should I think that maybe we should go to a tavern, if you choose to do that.
What do you want to do, Cohen? What would you prefer? Because right now I can't see heads from tails or make up my mind on any matters.
How about we go and ask Navin? All right.
Sure.
Good. He knows.
Garris will start stumbling back to the city, or the townhouse, home. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. You move your way back to where you stay. You come in. I'm assuming Navin has been drinking whatever has been put out at this point.
Yeah.
So I think that both Navin and Father
Tipsy at the
pretty
very least,
drunk.
getting drunk, yeah.
Yeah. Like even these, like you've been gone for half an hour maybe, but like they are shit ass drunk at this point.
So do we see them come in, or are we just so preoccupied with the game and just drinking?
I think that you're a bit too preoccupied, to be honest. At this point, so you come in to see them, like roll dice. It's basically turned into a drinking game.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, and it's like we don't even look at the score. It's like, hey.
Yeah.
All around. I'll win this time.
He laughs a little bit at you, and just kind of nods.
I roll the die. I start counting.
Yeah. It's roll me 3d6. Sorry, I'm just fixing all of the shit I should have been fixing instead of. Shit. That's a good 3d6 roll right there. Yep, he takes a few sips, and then you continue just doing this.
Yeah, it's like basically I imagine us like we're both rolling, and then we're like looking at our own die, like and comparing the numbers directly.
Yeah.
I think and then is that my roll? I think I think I won. And just, you know what that means? I just drink instead, like, oh yeah.
You laugh, you drink, and at some point, do either of you at the back say anything, or?
I don't.
Okay,
Why not?
cool. So then you see them drink, and that's it.
So yeah, I won't stop unless he stops. Or I pass out, I should say.
Yeah, I think that both of you will be passing out in a bit. Okay,
This
so
is good stuff you have. Never had it before, Geekier, but it's good stuff.
Actually,
he.
I
Oh
will.
yeah, God.
Sorry.
No.
I
Oh
will
shit.
turn to Garris and maybe they did want you to stay here, so maybe you can go to bed.
And what were you two in that instance?
Well, I'm gonna try to get Navin into bed so he doesn't sleep out here.
Just remember that you yourself are also important. Morgan would have wanted you to also take care of yourself. Wanted me to take care of you as well.
Yeah. I'll try to shepherd him towards like, I don't know.
Probably like just gets a, hey, watch it. And then turn around, hey, go! And then sort of offer them, hey, you gotta
Hey.
try this. Try it.
Okay. Yep. I'll try it.
It's good, isn't it?
It is very strong liquor. That's
Yeah, but he told me to drink it, so I drink all of it.
sure. You drink all of it, and like both of them are probably like, oh, well done.
Thirsty. Oh.
Yeah. So you will spend the night grieving in one manner or another until you either pass out or you fall asleep. You wake up the morning after either feeling hungover and sad, or probably just sad. What do you want to do this morning?
So wait, who wakes up first? I guess the others, I would assume.
I think Garris probably wakes up first.
Garris would be spending the night, at least, just reading through what books he could. I'm not
Yep.
sure if he would even fall asleep at that point.
Sure.
Yeah, eventually, when I wake up, I sort of go to the dinner table. I guess it's not like a dinner room. I guess it's more like a just for dinner, or is it like how is breakfast served usually? Like was it?
So yesterday you ate outside, and like you ate dinner inside at the like the dinner room or whatever to say. So I think that as you come down like early morning, it's probably like Mary's about trying to fix food and such, and she seems unaware of what has happened.
I think Navin might want to tell her, but doesn't know if it's his place, if that's appropriate. So he will
Yeah.
refrain.
Okay.
And maybe just sit down at the table and start eating whatever, and just like, ugh. wait for everyone else to come to the table eventually.
Yeah, I'll go and sit down. Next.
Eventually, you all find yourselves sitting around the table, Garris with big, saggy eyes. Bags underneath the ice. That's how you say it, right? Not baggy ice.
That's interesting, I think, regardless. I actually don't know.
So look at companions.
I am very sorry, but could we take a short break? I am
Yeah, that's
completely freaking out about what my computer is doing at the moment.
okay. We're going on a quick break. We will be right back. Yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're live. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't count down this
Welcome
time, so I was
back.
just like,
Oh, I did it
Right.
really quickly this time. I was like, 3, 2, 1.
sorry. I just spaced out of that. Okay, cool. Tim can actually focus now. Let's go. Everybody, get back in Foundry, please, and keep your asses there as well. And
What if we don't have donkeys?
Hey, Chad.
well, I don't care. So, you all spend the night grieving and spending the time however you do your grieving best. And I think in the morning, most of you, like after breakfast, the mother kind of comes in, like she's destroyed. Like you have seen her impeccable, ponytail to the point where not a single strand of hair is standing out. And now she just comes down as if though, worst hungover and just hair frizzly, like she's wearing pajamas and like down one of the arm, like you can see like left of her breast, and it's just like very quote unquote inappropriate, but very also understandable after what has happened.
Yeah.
And I think like you're all kind of finishing your food, seeing Mary, and like Mary just walking up to her and they talk, and then Mary breaks down. I feel like you kind of make a very silent escape at this point. The father is outside. He kind of sees you and nods very understandingly, smiles, and
Give it, deep nod and wave, and then leave.
Yep. Okay. He would also for like easy, he would have given you the money for the travel.
We can accept this. I'm sorry. Oh, you need it more than we do at the moment.
He like raises his eyebrow. Seeing you in those rags, telling me, kind of turns around to his very large mansion, that I need a few silver pieces more than you is probably more rude than considerate. Thank you, Garris. But please.
Thank you for everything.
He nods.
Do what we can for him.
I know that you will. My son never saw a reason to live prior to him coming back. And I know that whilst his loss might be difficult, he preferred it this way. I know that if he could do something for his friends to keep them alive, then he would. It's every choice that he did.
Ash nods, turns away, starts walking.
I just mutter, I'm sorry. And then I follow.
Suppose we.
I can't tell if that's satirical or not.
No, we can hear you typing them.
What? Can you hear me typing again?
It's
Yes.
probably changed the settings now that you changed the unit, so it's but perhaps we should
Nope.
leave town now and get to Ballora as quickly as possible. We don't know how long this person Antoine spoke of would be there.
Never. He wasn't there from the start. And now you should definitely.
Still
Yeah.
here.
I did it now to see if noise suppression goes back on. You go to the northern part. You pay them the money owed for them, and then you go to the north and quite quickly get over to the points to the little city town. I suppose is the right one. And as you are walking north through this little hamlet, I suppose you see standing next to a signpost is Christoph, looking much fresher than before. He sees you, kind of like, looks at invisible watch on his wrist, and looks at you. Always on time, I see.
So just
You look-
nod and-
He kind of looks at the three of you. Did Morgan stay behind, or
he's gone.
like gone ahead, or
No, Christoph.
he sees Navin shake his head. Silently, he kind of just nods, and then he starts walking.
Sort of fill him in on what we had the conversation with Antoine and the changes, essentially updating him on what we know.
Yep.
So I assume you won't be inheriting your birthright then?
No, of course not. I mean, they didn't know that I went back, and my brother simply came limping into the house. He promised me that he wouldn't tattletale on me after me saving his life. Well,
Sounds
technically you saving it, but I took that as us. He kind of broadly smiles.
Small grin.
I had a quick conversation with a fellow of mine, Philiot, I suppose, that is high up within the army. And they kind of looks as you're kind of moving out of the what's it called? Out of the city. They've heard stirrings with the assassination on Carr. It's just a rumor, a weird one that came to me, but apparently the Pommels might have something to do with it.
Are you familiar with who they are?
Yes, the Pommels are the ruling family in Hugelsberg. You can roll me history to see how much you know about them.
Can I also?
No.
No. Makes sense.
You know that the Pommels have been ruling Hugelsberg for a long time. They are the founder's office and ventured north when the northern Baltwick was established. Originally very happy and good, very diplomatic family, have been doing a lot with the Tributary Republic, with Pyrrhonogus, and even with the Commonwealth, and just a tiny bit with the Daring Dominion. Lately, there's been a lot of weird-ass rumors surrounding them, and there's been they're never coming out during the day anymore. They're only coming out when there's no sun, and commoners, they do rumor, well, what do you call it, rumor mongering, and
Stuff,
yeah, exactly. It's they're vampires. They're never coming out, and but there's shit on every noble, especially every Altwickian noble. So who, and there's only been a few sayings of this, but they're still very highly. They're very powerful, very influential in the diplomatic game. And as a son of a noble family, when you have a lot of clout to your name, you usually use it for something. But they have been sitting on this cloud for a long time now, and they have been gathering a lot of favors. And it kind of just comes to you now that, wait, they have all this clout in northern Altwig. There's no prince in Bellora. If they had something to do with the assassination, then they could very easily get themselves into a position of power, possibly in seizing the throne.
Do they have an in mind, or is
Sorry?
it some other election?
Do they have...
An heir in line to the throne, or
No. So Carl was Henrik's only brother, and the next in line is Henrik's daughter, who is 13. So there is another 5 years where there's going to be a Regency Council in the north, and now with war, I'd say 5 years is a very long ass time.
where were they based again? Just to get
Hugelsberg.
Hugensburg.
Hugelsberg.
Hugol?
Hugel. It's
Hugon.
if you go to the map, you'll see it. Let's see if you can hear my typing now. No, good.
What are these pommels?
Certainly have the clout for it, so that they tend to be blamed for every mishap and misfortune that comes this way. Is your source reliable?
I mean, as reliable as a rumor can be. This is only what has been heard. Apparently, it came in a tip that somebody overheard in the embassy in Bellora, and my friend happened to be a friend of theirs that shared it over a couple of glasses of wine. But this is just one person. They claim to be close to the pommels, but I mean,
We arrange a meeting. We're heading down there now.
with my contact in Bellora, sure, I guess I can. But again, it's just rumors of rumors, so I wouldn't take it too. But
Seriously.
For us.
I hear you. It just seems a bit too.
too much of coincidence, yes. I understand. I will set it up.
I heard. Yeah, sorry. So, I'll share like what we heard from Luther when he talked about the political uprising and stuff in different places. So I'm trying to
Okay.
recall the name. Yeah, the wars and the
Yep.
moving of the soldiers that passed us.
Yeah, he would. Oh yeah, shit. That's right. Like he would. Like as you mentioned, he's like, yeah. There is definitely war. We haven't received the official declaration yet, but any day, with all of the soldiers moving. I even heard that Saranir are doing something.
So I heard
I'm sorry.
Doing something? Could you clarify?
They are doing their last stand against the ogres.
Right. Forgive me.
So you start moving southeast along the edges of the lake, and then you kind of cross over and make for the. Or do sorry, I'm just assuming here. Do you go for the fastest route for your check here? Do you go for the fastest route, or do you go around where it's a bit safer? So the question is like, would you go through the forest of Eholinia, or would you go around again?
Good question.
Let's take the river down from Melania. I think time is of the essence at the moment.
Let's see, it would be 100 kilometers around this way, and it would be 9. You actually, it would only be a 10 kilometers difference, so it's like not a lot.
Would it be faster to make our way over to a small port town on the
Here?
Mizoram and then take a canoe down?
Yes, absolutely. The canoe would be like twice as fast. Okay. So you can then knock off, I would say, for the price of going down there. Tim actually hasn't thought about this. What would it take? Maybe.
Dare you? You don't have every single thing planned out beforehand.
No, I think per person it would be like 20 silver.
That is very expensive, and also not money we have.
Nope.
Never mind.
You don't, but I think that as you come there, it's going to be too late for you to realize that. And Christoph would, kind of sigh and pull out the money and kind of pay for you and like look at you, Garris, with that kind of like you owe me face. As yeah. So the first 2 days you are moving eastward towards Hugelsberg. Again, like the road is traveled. You probably are traveling with a couple of mercenaries. You're two separate packs. The autumn is drawing to its end, and you're getting like closer to winter. The nights are getting colder and colder, and you, as you get to the crossing, you see again a smaller hub having grown up here. There's a tavern, there's a smithy. Perhaps even a building that would resemble a guild hall for the smaller guilds, but it's like mostly is taken up by this larger river building from which you can see is built like above the river, and underneath there's like canoes that can be dropped in, and then they sail off. So as you get up, you see Christoph pull up enough money to pay for you all. You get because you're 4. You get 2 canoes. You get 4 canoes, and with rapid pace, you go down towards Bellora. And you would end up there 4 days. Let's see, how long is this route? It's 90 kilometers down here. Yeah, it would take you a total of 5 days for this to go east and then down. And bum.
Nice.
Oh my god.
It might take a long-ass time to load in, but this is the city.
Holy shit, dude.
I can see my house from here.
Yeah.
It's enormous.
Chat, wanna give it up for the DM's dedication in this map? Holy shit. Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah, where are we?
You would be coming on the docks down here.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, yes, that would be where you would be. I am going to give you something to read. A person can actually read out loud this time. Sorry, where is my fucking journal? Here we go. Da-da, and then we have Center Ober, Kernst, and a Bellora. There you go. So, person, whoever wants to, can read this out.
I'll do it
If
if
you
no one
want.
else volunteers.
You can just read the first part. That's
Yeah,
fine.
the first paragraph, or
Yeah,
just,
the rest is just like a bit of. That's if you want. That's like
so I guess the 3 first paragraphs would be fine.
sure.
Yeah. The seat of power in the northern principality is a beautiful sight for both land and sea. The tall spires surrounding the castle, the clay-tiled roofs, the many stained glass windows reflecting the sunshine, and many other sights can make one silent in awe. The cobblestone streets used to be packed with travelers, adventurers, merchants, and even pickpockets. The taverns and inns filled with the noise of bussed patrons as they listened to a mediocre minstrel. Now the streets are practically empty, and so are the taverns, inns, temples, and most other establishments. Since the assassination of the prince, Bellora has fallen under martial law. The large steel gates are closed, disallowing anyone to enter or leave. Anger, fear, and sadness is spreading through the inhabitants as they hopefully await for word that the assassin has been caught.
And this is what you would have known like, as we started. As you roll in, there is still a very depressed feeling to Bellora. There is not a lot of people moving about, and you see soldiers standing like on the docks and such, being very thorough to take any and all like information about people that come in. So as you kind of get off, you would let's see, should I bring you out maybe? Let's see. Yes, I can bring you out. You should be able to move your tokes about as well. You walk up to. Yes, you did, Garris. You walk up to these armor-clad guards. You see them wearing a purple. What do you call it? Like the royal purple, like colored cloak with the sigil of a. What would it be? This is called the Nordwick. So I think it would be of a. Of two halberds being crossed behind a wolf's head would be the coat of arms for the blue coats, as they're called. Blue coats is like the general name of any city guards, so that is what you would know them as. They see you, kind of wait for you to come up. They're holding up like a big ledger, nodding to you. Where are you coming from?
The Meta.
Write this up. Only the four of you.
Aye.
Nods. Names. Kind of turns the large book around. Hands you a pen. Whoever can't write, some of your friends can write it down.
Yeah. I write my proper name.
The same. Hand the book to Kellen.
Yeah, I write down just my first name, I guess.
You would see like after there would be like a cross for like magical aptitude and everything. So they log the time, they log like your abilities, they go through your gear, make sure that you don't have anything suspicious. If you do, like they would take it up. I think that the hammer would be something that they kind of feel, and they see the runes. They ask you a bit about it. Your spell focuses in spell books. They would ask like what type of spells you can cast and such. So they have an idea of you like as a person if shit should happen, and then they are letting you in.
All right. Now we just need to find the swan neck.
You the guards kind of. You say the swan neck?
Aye, good sir.
It's north, quite far from here, but pass through the gates and you'll see the grand halls of Equitae. Like bunch of pretty houses around it, very symmetrical. Continue north from there, and you'll find it, like somewhere up here.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Sort of give my nod.
You should now be able to move your tokens. You make the way northward, and it is some trek. You're walking through these very quiet streets. You can assume that this city probably have been like very bustling with this many people. As you are walking, you see this massive palace, and again, I am going to ask one of you to read the. I'm realizing that this is a good way to have done things prior, but
I can't move my token, but
why not? If
I
you
don't know.
have you select the right thing, where it's select token at the top left, you click the meeple and then select token.
She's on the home screen and not in Ballora.
Then
What? No, I'm not.
Aren't you?
No.
Maybe it's not updating then because it has
Yeah, I
the
can't
icon
see you
on
here
home.
either. Try to F5 it. Somebody care to mind the Crystalline Palace, please?
Ah, god damn it. Sorry,
Brian, do you want to go
stream.
for it?
I'm working on it.
Right.
Damn it.
Long ago, a powerful spellweaver
Yeah.
wove a net of magic and placed it upon the
There
prince's
we go.
palace,
Sorry.
turning the stone into crystal. Whenever the sun rises or sets on the Crystalline Palace, It shines in 1,000 different colors. Should water in the docks be completely still, the effect is multiplied, and the display is something that all that see it marvel at. Within the palace is not only the king's relatives, the prince, but also a score of nobles who have various ranks of power. Since the northern principality governs itself through the seat of power in Ballora, it has always been utmost importance to keep those with influence close to the throne. The gathering chambers for the prince, his advisors, and any nobles invited were always bustling with noise during the day and long into the night. For the past week, however, it has been dead silent, as the reins of power now lay unheld after the recent assassination. The northern realm is without a ruler. There are many threats knocking on the door, the greatest being placing the wrong person on the throne.
And you continue making your way north throughout the city. You also do pass these what would look like, imagine like not Louvre per se, but you have the grand halls of Equitae, and they are a beautiful set of buildings. But you come to the northern part, you kind of ask around whoever's outside, and you get directed to the Swan Neck.
Can I ask, can Garris keep an eye out for something as he's moving, Gio?
Absolutely. What do you want to keep an eye out for?
Seeing how everyone's marshaling off the ward, even with the amounts of guards that have been recently in the assassination, does it look like the city is sending out any forces to assist in the war front? Or
I think, like, with this now being so long after the first initial movement, if they decided to send something, it would either already have been sent or they are like mustering it somewhere else. But like the city has a standing militia, which it's like it won't send, and then it has like the moving army that they can send as well. But you move inside the tavern, and it's rather gloomy, not super nice, not the fanciest that you've been at, but it does for a tavern. There seems to be only like 3 or 4 patrons in at the moment. It's just a bit after breakfast, maybe 9:30 or so a.m. And you see the tavern keep, a taller man, slender, with blonde hair and a bald spot at the back. Kind of looks up at you. What can I do for you, good sirs?
looking for a friend of ours.
He raises an eyebrow.
Navin, do you remember who we were looking for while I
I
looked through
believe
my notes?
Antoine said Eli.
Eli.
Eli, yeah, he's right there munching on his food. And you turn and you can describe what your character looks like. Look, after an hour of silence.
You would look over and see a figure hunched over. They look around to be around 5'7". There's a staff and a wide-brimmed hat set off to the side of them, and they're currently sat hunched over, very engrossed in the meal that they're having. Kind of high cheekbones, square jaw, small set eyes, dark brown, and curly black hair.
He points there. What do you do?
I think it's sort of
Bring
looking
us
at
an
Garris,
ale,
like,
would you? A pitcher?
Kind of nods. Starts filling things up. Puts it on the plate.
Bring it over.
Yep. So, Eli, you have been told that these people would most likely... You haven't been given descriptions, but... Sorry, you've been told that some people would come and see you. And you suddenly see 4 figures kind of crouching around and like sitting down. And we can just have a description of each of your characters for Luke's sake.
Right, yeah. You see a rather tall man approach you. Pretty muscular, bulky, or sort of rather lean muscles. Carrying a runic hammer at his belt and a shield on his back. Bit of armor ring mail covers his chest, but no other real adornment on his face. Pretty clean shaven, or usually clean shaven. For now, he's been traveling, so it's a bit rugged. And long red hair in braids at the back, and pulled backwards, but essentially in a back slick, but not quite.
Garris appears as a Galt and Wikian. He basically long black hair, mustache that seems to be pretty well kept. You notice that for whatever reason, his left arm seems to be contained within his sling, beneath some fairly regal-looking robes, although they have been dirtied with travel over time.
Yeah, and you'll see a very timid person stepping out behind them, following them like a shadow, basically. And you see this man with, like, let's see, very unkept hair, brown towards dark, like black almost. And the thing that you notice most of it is that there is no part of his skin that is like not without scars or injuries. So he has scars, injuries all over his entire body except for his hands. That's the main
Do you
thing.
remember what happened when your soul was given back, Sarah?
Yes, I remember that some of the wounds were replaced,
Only
but
like the oldest, like so.
exactly.
Yeah, like so. Only the oldest, like that. That's fine. And like, I'm not. I don't want to like ruin your character if that's what you
No,
want to keep.
that's fine.
Like, but it would be like such a thing. Like, it would have not only given you your soul back, but it would have like healed your body as well, like from any of the non-super serious things.
What?
Yes. That's like why almost all of the scars and maybe, the acid
Okay.
and then a few parts of your back would only be like the ones that are the severely scarred. So you
Yeah, the ears
would
as well.
look, yeah, you would
Yeah.
look more like you did like before you met Demas than after now.
Then I
So
would
you-
be pretty fucking handsome. Sorry, but uh, no, but yeah. But I'm still very timid and very scared. So that's the character, most of it. But yeah, looking to be from the east, the deserty parts of the continent, basically. Yeah. So yeah.
And then you see a person which kind of from just the sight of this person. You see a fiery blonde hair put back in a ponytail, and you immediately know that this fiery blonde hair and like his alt wicked trait is the basically the second most powerful noble family in the southern Ballora. His name, he introduces himself as Christoph, and kind of you see powerful bows slung above his back. You can make me just a history to see if you like know about the family.
Alrighty.
First roll of the campaign. Woo-hoo! In the 4-1.
There we go.
So you know that like this fiery red hair belongs to the Gravenruth family, and that like the Pommels especially would have been like very much against them, at least like on the outside, like they always were at their throats. But something in your memory is like remembering your father speaking about a meeting that happened between them, but you can't nudge that forward.
It's been a long week for Eli.
Yeah, it definitely has. So yeah, you see these Muppets kind of engrossing on your space.
You're blocking the light.
I step
you-
right away from it.
So to stay where I am. Are you Eli by any chance?
Depends who wants to know. Shovel some more food in my mouth.
Yeah. I think we have a friend in common. He sent us and told us you were here.
Friend might be too much of a word. Ally would be a better suited.
True.
You're Antoine's friend.
You see Eli take a deep breath. Look, as cautious as relieved, set his bowl aside. I was told to expect some people. Suppose you should take a seat then.
Thank you. So sit down.
You can take a d6 for inspiration just from the first moments, Luke.
Okay.
Snap! That's awesome.
We'll go sit somewhere else now.
Okay, bye. Yeah, I
I
said that.
assume you know where the shot is?
You may not know of the shards.
This is something that Tim forgot actually to mention too, so I'm gonna whisper you the location, Luke. Where is this?
Okay, what, through Foundry?
Yes.
Or Discord? It's a lot of new technology I'm not used to using.
That's okay, dude.
Yep, we are all new.
Yeah.
Alright.
Been using this for 3,000 years, so
Oh yeah,
Maybe
then
not new.
one more.
My name is Navin. It's nice to meet
Navin.
you. These are my friends. We're traveling companions. If you will.
Navin. And the one in the robes.
Garris.
Yes.
Garris. Nice to meet you, Garris. And what about the... Are you at the table as well, Corin? Are you still hiding?
No,
Cohen.
I sat down when you told me to sit down. I sat
Yeah.
down.
Alright.
Sort of look at Cohen.
Sorry, yeah. you did.
yeah. I look at Cohen to like give him the opportunity to say something, and I sort of like nudge him with the knee.
Cohen.
Cohen. Nice to meet you, Cohen. I'm Eli.
Nice,
You,
nice to meet you.
Garris. Garris mentioned the... I'm not entirely sure how safe it is to talk here, but I may. I may.
Safe to talk.
If we har den här
Doesn't realize the detection is too loud.
Yeah.
Sorry, was that a question for me?
No. We're
No.
we're hearing it.
Well, I
Yeah,
was
we
just
heard
asking
him.
about this staff of the Magi that Eli used to me. I'm
You
getting sure it's
find
legal.
it, and you
Yeah, I-
accidentally use it on yourself and you die.
I'll start rolling up a new character.
I suppose caution is warranted, Eli. But do you know a place where we could speak more privately then?
DM, would I know a place in particular that would be
So-
welcome within the city?
There are like several wooden, wood parts that are like secluded is the wrong part, but like the slums. I mean, your room
Yeah,
is
from
like
that.
decently safe, I suppose. Either of the temples would also be pretty safe to be in. Like, there's not many people that were to listen to you there. You could also go to like the graveyard and go about there. There's very few people that are wandering there, and it would be very hard to overhear you.
You should know that it is very likely that someone is scrying on us. If you cannot find a place that is warded, then it's very
My room
likely.
could suffice for now.
Very well.
Do you want to have a beer? Relax for a moment.
Would be nice.
I'm guessing
Help
you've
them travel.
come, straight from Anton,
Well, from Lamenta, but it's where we saw him last.
right? Gives me a moment to finish my food as well.
So like attention to the.
Yeah. Kana sees you and comes over with another set. Is that food as well, breakfast for the other gents, maybe?
Whatever they want.
Kana nods.
Splintered with the side of duck roast, and if you have any chardonnay, that would also be appreciated.
Sorry, sir, but breakfast, the stove is not on, and we're not doing any cooked meals at the moment. Egg is the best I can do if you want anything fried.
I'll take what he's having input to Eli.
Perhaps I can find a couple of slices of pork, maybe. Maybe a chicken wing at the best.
You do with what you can. I appreciate it, good man.
at you and kind of bows, and looks to Cohen.
I don't order anything.
Like, as you'd probably sit there, he would kind of poke you, probably. Oi, you want something?
Okay.
He looks very confused at this.
Yeah. Give him whatever I'm having.
Sure. Kind of nods and walks away, and you have some time to,
So how did you meet Antoine, if you don't mind my asking?
I do mind somewhat, but I'll tell you, he found me here in Ballora not long ago, all things considered, in a temple town.
Traveled far?
And yourselves?
Well, as you can probably tell, we're not really from here. Lost wanderers, essentially. But I met him for the first time. Where was it, Garris? It was off the coast.
When he tried to kill us.
Yes, but well, he didn't necessarily try to kill us.
Yeah, true enough. His monsters and his lightning bolts did.
I don't know if they were his monsters, but yes. And we met him close to. It wasn't Eras. It was in the Corsair
Archipelago.
Yes. Wasn't there a city close? No, that wasn't. Yeah.
No, we were stranded on an island.
Yeah, some island. Some island in the Corsair Archipelago. I don't know which one. Strange encounter. That
Sounds like Anton.
works in strange ways and not the clearest of persons, I would say, but perhaps he has reason to be.
Can't argue with that. Man's got a temper on him as well. Fond of him as I may be.
I suppose. I mean, if he's as old as he say he is and as powerful, and maybe we are simply animals to him, a bunny or a rabbit just jumping along.
Might not be far off. Was that Garris?
He treats him well, right?
So, what would you say, Brian? We didn't hear all of it.
The golem, he treats him well, right? Respectfully, whatever dignity can be left.
I suppose. I don't know. You know more about creating those things than I do, but I don't think there's malice in him necessarily.
You would not have seen a golem or anything like that they're speaking of.
Didn't? Yeah, okay. But if you know where we're supposed to go next, I think we're maybe in need of some rest from our travels already, depending on how far we have to go. But maybe a day's wait, so we can all recover.
Sounds like a plan. If I'm not mistaken, I have a feeling the work that Anton has sent me on coincides with the work that you've been sent on.
I would assume so. Or he might have other ideas or reasons for it. It's a mystery in and of itself.
We can go up to my room and talk in safer spaces if you like.
Aye.
And I can get you all a room here if you'd like a night's rest.
I think we can pay for ourselves, but I appreciate the offer. We'll stay here.
Let me know if you change your mind. I'll lead them up to my room, please, DM.
Yes, you go up a set of narrow stairs, and you see, just as any other tavern, doors on rows. The second door to the left is what Eli opens, and it opens up into a rather large suite, one that you wouldn't probably think from just the outside. And there's ample room for all of you to sit somewhere.
Please, make yourselves comfortable.
I go and take a seat.
Yeah, find the most comfortable seat.
The most uncomfortable for me.
Oh, it's like standing on a chair on its head, just like putting its feet over. Garris will find a seat as well.
I'm sure you have many questions, please. We'll try and answer them as best we can.
where to start. You mentioned the shards before, Garris. What is it you know of the shards themselves?
Was to unlock the gates to the Shadow Realm. Antoine has told us his intention to use it to bring Iltasuna and then bind her as best as he can. I'm not sure how much. Regardless, there are other parties searching them out as well. I haven't had time enough to examine them in depth to determine what functions they might actually serve.
I'd fears myself that someone else might be involved. But Anton has sent me since our cross passed. It's been good to me. He sent me about and around tracking down these shards of which you speak.
You have a compass.
I have a map.
Far better than what we have. And I look to Garris, sort of like, give him a little nudge.
Assuming that you pull it out.
I will go over to the chest of drawers where I have it hidden within a vase, and casting a uncertain glance around the party, I'll whap out my map.
Whap out your map.
Don't, before you do so, remember there is a chance someone is scrying on us.
At the mention of that, I look away, and I just look down on the floor.
Perhaps we do not need to see the map if you know where we're going. I think we trust in that.
Very well. Well, if you need it, or if you ever have the opportunity to view it where you feel safe and away from scrying eyes, let me know.
Aye.
I'll keep hold of it in the meantime.
I will see if I'm about engineering some plane or ward where we can be safe in sharing information such as this, but in the meantime, keep it on himself.
Very well. I also, beyond the map itself, my initial encounter with Anton came from the fact that
Oh, internet's cutting out, I think.
No. Yeah. We're losing him.
Technology has
Damn you,
betrayed us.
Iltasuna!
Damn
Stop
you,
crying
Ben.
on him!
Yeah, it's Ben's fault.
Have we lost the GM too? Because
No,
no, you're just enjoying this moment.
No.
Well, guess we have to look for a new party member.
Just a moment.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Stall.
There he
No,
is.
I'm
There we go.
Well, sort of.
Welcome back.
sorry, everyone.
That's fine.
It's fine.
Sometimes Iltasuna just, takes over your body and makes you freeze for 3 minutes. It's
Oh God.
Happens.
We love him.
Shadow Realm, am I right? My initial encounter with Anton, he himself was in Ballora searching for one of these shards. I have learnt since that one of them is within the halls of Equitae.
So I look to Garris, see if he has any recollection, like, on his face.
Does he know where that is? I believe it was in the notes that were given to us, but
Yeah.
In that book we found before a long time ago, or no?
I mean,
Oh,
the
but-
bottom
is
end.
Garris
Ah.
familiar enough with the city of Ballora to know? Yeah,
This
he was.
information is like everyone's thing. So, you know that 20 years ago, a rich nobleman by the name of Eric von Mischel overheard a group of wealthy commoners attending his gala complain that they couldn't view art such as the one they were looking at leisurely. An idea was born in Eric's mind, one that would come to fruition and allow for a new way of entertainment. The grand halls of Equitae are located in the center of the city. White stone walls have been sculpted and painted into dazzling pieces of art. Surrounding the building are fountains in which masterfully crafted humanoid shapes spurt water. To enter the building, one has to pay a small fee. Once the fee has been paid, one is available to either walk around watching the different paintings, statues, and pieces of history that are stored within the grand halls of Equitae. Should one wish to have some history attached to them, to the items, a tour service is offered at a premium. So basically, it's a museum.
Have we heard about it on the road, like from the merchants that were traveling, sort of not with us, but like in tandem, or
No,
no?
it's like it's there. It's like one of a kind thing, but it's not something that's like now 20 years later. It's like not people are like.
Yeah, it's not. It's more in the fancy pants segment of the population.
Yeah.
Fancy
You
pants.
wouldn't happen to know anyone who could get us access, would you?
I think you would know, Eli. That's like to enter. It's just like it's two, 3 silver, depending on the
Okay.
day. So it's very cheap to enter. You can
Right.
get a sword for like an additional 5 or so silver, so it's very cheap.
All right. I don't know exactly where within these halls the shard may be. But that general location, that building itself, is where I've managed to narrow it down to. In terms of access, it's a mere 2-3 silver pieces access.
They're not going to let us take something from the museum, regardless of where we might find it from.
Might be behind
And
the
if it
barrier
is
they
in the
can't see.
museum,
Hmm.
it's not accessible to the public. Or at least not that I can believe.
May not know they have it.
I have some friends in Ballora. I'll see if I can track them down and see if they know.
Very well.
Do we know if like regular people can see the barriers, or is it like more like everyone can see the shadows? I guess.
You have all seen it. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah,
if-
we haven't brought anyone to ask.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
we're
it's
normal
true.
people.
Yeah. No. I suppose going there and getting more information is not a bad thing. Perhaps we could do that while you find your contacts, Garris, or maybe I don't know if there's a better way to do it.
I'm not sure if he's available at the moment. I'll try his lab, see if he's if he's not. No hard feelings. It's been a while since I've been home anyway.
This is your home?
As much as it can be.
Perhaps we should rest for the. Well, I guess it's still a pretty early morning.
Yes, it is. You have had, like, during the time on the river, it's definitely been a good rest for you guys.
What else has Antoine have you? Give me a minute. English will come back. What else has Antoine have you been doing? What have you been doing for Antoine?
Common's a nightmare. He has helped me with certain senses of control and abilities, and helped me improve myself as an individual, let's say. And in return, once faith and trust was established between us, I have simply been within this city and without, searching for these shards. Now it appears it's time to start collecting the things that I've been locating.
Suppose we should plan and look for ways out of the city once we have the shard. If it is known by the staff, or if they know of its possession and they certainly lose it, I'm sure they will not look kindly upon that, even if we're not assassins.
I think you're right.
Perhaps waiting, but it could take fortnights before they're finding someone to blame or to actually find the assassin, or if this gets even worse.
With the city opening up, that only means one thing. Either they have them, or they know they won't find them.
Guess we need
It
an
would be
escape
good
route.
to check in with the situation there. We have reason to believe that it might be related to whatever parties may be muddling about with the shadows.
So what's our first course of action, do you think?
Guess going to this place, the halls of etiquette.
Sounds good to me. Cohen, what do you think?
Yeah, yep.
Well, all right then.
You two, if you three want to look into the museum, I'll see if I can find Monk Radius. I need to check in with him anyway.
I guess we'll meet back here later this evening.
Very well.
Right, let's...
Splitting the party in a city which we never been to.
We can possibly go
Very
right.
smart.
Yeah, so just a reminder, left side of the map, whenever you see like the Ober thing, you can click there to kind of navigate your way back. And you can find yourself like back into the map of Bellora through clicking on all of the links and such. So, Mr. Garris is going to... 2 seconds. Where? To meet up with...
Meet up with my teacher as best as I can, see if I can track him down.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that there would be like a house that you would know him to be. I think it would be, depending on... He still might be teaching. I think maybe down at the university here. He might actually be.
Alright, start making my way to wherever I think he's most likely to be at this hour.
Cool. What was his name again? Sorry.
Mongradius, I believe.
Mongradius. Where's my notes? Tim has started to spread out his notes like the stupid man he is.
Dude,
No, don't say that.
if it's any consolation, you're not nearly as stupid as you think you are.
Like splitting the party, stupid.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
you're in a city. What could have happened? Before you leave, Christoph kind of stands off and kind of pats down his pants. The three of you are dirt poor, and you're not going to do any good without any money. He puts 3 coins on the table. I know you're going to say no. I don't care. You are useless without money. Use this to whatever good you can. I am going to go and see if I can set up a meeting with... I just gestures to Garris. You see Ethereum coins on the ground. So you have 100 silver apiece, not
Whoa.
for Eli.
I look up at Garris and just like, please take it.
I basically take the silver coin, move it over to Cohen, and take my Ethereum.
What?
This is your share.
I can't accept that. You know that. Okay. And I'll take it.
Yep. Awesome.
Oh my god. Responsibility.
I think we'll do, because it's like just to the south of you, the grand halls of Equitae. So Christoph moves out, and then we have Navin, Cohen, and Eli moving south. You move through the shamble buildings. It seems like the poorer quarters doesn't really seem to have streets. It's not very lined up. It's just like mumbo jumbo, and it's like grass mostly under your feet. Some parts are like cobbled underneath, but it's so poorly taken care of that there's like, you know, grass having grown over the cobblestones and such. But as you're like moving in, like you come to just this border where it's just like, oh, everything perfectly kept nicely, and you just see like this entrance to this beautiful place. As described, there are several fountains with statues, spurting water in some of them. You have 10 different humanoid statues just like shooting water in different ways. You have 3 buildings within this, and you also see that the cobblestones all seem to have a very like glassy look to them. They're all colored in different colors. You see very warm colors, much red, blue, purple, those kind of colors spread out in almost like glass shards that you're walking on, that with the sun kind of coming up is making it all sparkle as you're walking. Some of the statues are not also made in stone, but actually metal, which is for Cohen something very odd, because like metal sculpting isn't really a thing yet. But like this being here is just like, oh wow, this is fucking awesome. You see several groups moving around, like groups of 10 or so, moving to a larger statue somewhere off in the distance, where you see probably a worker standing there and talking about the works and such. And
I want to go there.
This larger building, you see like all walls. If you've seen like the sculpted walls in like Greece or such in the ancient parts, and just like these amazing. It's not mosaics. It's there is a word for it. I just don't have it at the top of my tongue at the moment. Murals.
Yeah, murals.
Is it murals? Yeah, I think it's murals.
I think it is,
yeah, murals. And like Cohen probably just stops.
Yeah.
And just gapes.
Yes.
You push Cohen along to kind of get up to the entrance. You see open doors, probably like 20 foot high, 10 foot wide, each double door standing open, just allowing lots of light coming inside. And you see very typical, museum, these red striped bands holding people out so they can't get too close to the things. And standing outside is a very well-dressed, black vest, red tie woman sitting behind a small like podium. Kind of sees you, and you see there's like a very clear box where you put the money in, and then you get a stamp on your hand, basically.
Yeah, I just put down the money and just...
the money and just stamp.
Yeah, and I just run in. I'm just like...
Would you like a gut?
Yeah, I just go in. And I'm like a kid. I'm just 100% like a kid. This has never, ever been the case for you guys. So I'm just running around looking at stuff and just like, oh my god.
She looks at Eli. Would you have come here and gone in and scouted it before, you think? Or would you have just kept to the outside?
I probably would have been in before, but not when I was searching itself for the shard.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if she... no. She doesn't. She kind of just smiles and gives you the stamps. Would you say it's like a tour, or would you, as your friend, just like to look around first? You can always come back for a tour later.
I might come back. Thank you.
Kind of nods. You walk inside, and the first floor, it's like, imagine like maybe 60-foot diameter sphere of openness at the top. Just light coming in, shining on the marble floor, these beautiful pillars, you stretching up, and there are glass montas, like what do you call it, like montrar. Cases, like glass cases with, in this first room, it would be like just probably ancient, because everybody likes a bit of war, so there's like swords and helmets, there's armor, there's there's like pieces of paintings for war of famous battles, there's some old stone tablets depicting like how a battle went several ages ago, and then you have like very clear above several exits where there's like the what would it be like? Advancement of painting, advancement like throughout the ages, and then masonry throughout the ages. You have like specific things for what you want to view, and it's it's
Cohen
very
has a small
odd for a person in like the Middle Ages to walk into a museum. For us, it's we're used to it because we know what we expect.
Yeah.
But there's like all of these pieces that are gathered in this place, especially for Cohen. It's just like wow. And I think like for Cohen, for Navin as well, probably some of the things related to war and such would be very like, wow, did they used to fight with these kinds of things? Like when you see the shittily made swords and hammers and such, and you're like, oh shit, we've come a long way. You see, yeah, you see like the old helmets that like you could see nothing in, and that's just like, yeah, well, might to protect your head, but if you were struck from behind, like you're dead anyways.
It just buckles inwards like, and that's just a coconut that someone graped out. Like that's not gonna do you any good.
Well, Cohen is having
you
a
see-
small stroke.
You see specifically this helmet, and like it says the coconut, and you see like that buckle in as well, and you see the skull still being stuck inside the helmet, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the coconut. And just,
Unlucky chap.
So Cohen is just running around looking at all of this, and it's like, oh wow, this is like 3,000-year-old, and you would probably see actually a set of 9 stone figures. Sorry, is it 9? Let me think. No, it would be. Sorry. Yes, Tim is third face. No, it wouldn't be 9. It would be 7.
Gods?
Figures of yes, the gods.
Okay.
That are actually like you recognize them the moment that you see in this yellowish sandstone, and like the detailed artwork and everything. Like this stone definitely came from the mines outside of Baster. Like this is made from your hometown, like some 4,000 years ago, and it's just like.
Yeah.
Comparison to the other things made from 4,000 years ago, like this is peak craftsmanship, and it's like you want to touch it kind of thing. It's like but you're like 3 foot away, you can't get to it, but it's they haven't like this stone hasn't eroded anything since they were made, and it's just like probably some magic instilled in them, but it's like that's some Da Vinci thing, Michelangelo or whatever, it's made of. They're genius.
Yeah, I just stand there and I'm just I'm stuck there. Yep.
So you are thus anything specific that you're looking for, or you're just wandering about enjoying?
Well, probably just more like overwhelmed with the new experience and just the big building essentially, and just like someone built this enormous building and housed all of these artifacts, and just the sort of the time and effort it must have taken, sort of like almost speechless. Even the town as well, but just seeing it and just being face to face with it, it's like, and then just following along, and just like every once in a while, like, oh yeah, we actually have something to do. And looking for guidance from Eli, like where we're supposed to go, or like look for more.
It's Eli doing anything specific?
Eli would have just taken his large brimmed hat, pulled it to the back of his head slightly to just get a better view of the roof, and then just looked around, smiled a little bit, and enjoyed seeing everyone enjoying the building for the first time, remembering his first time there too.
Yep. Could you all just make me a D100, please? So you can just do / roll 1D100. As we will leave you with that rolls, I will then go over to Mr. Garris for a moment. As he probably moves with you and then continues south. You pass the Crystalline Palace, seeing the splendor that it is, and then you continue to the university. As you would have known, the university is very large. It houses like several thousand students, and it's very divided into like general studies to you guys rolling 8s and 9s on this, holy shit. It's divided into, where the nobles would probably have their own part of it, but they would still be kind of forced to
mingle with the filthy
mingle
commoners. Yeah.
Exactly, more to get rid of that attitude, probably, because people have noticed it. But instead of getting away from it, it's more, try. You remember being here. You are the alphas on the university, expecting there to be everyone's eyes on you, and blah 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 blah. And some very rude ass boys probably use that to the very wrong things, especially when you're a teenager, using that sort of power and influence to get what you want when you probably shouldn't have it, kind of things. You get a surge of nostalgia as you walk up the 43 steps it takes you to go from the bottom to the entrance. Opening up, smelling the smell of old book and chlorine together, as it's just like they're still keeping that shitty chlorine as they're cleaning it. You walk inside, you pass a few older meisters and professors, and make your way up to the teachers' area. You open it, walk into where you know that Mongradius's study should be. It's a bit prior to lunchtime, so probably has class, but who knows? You knock, and you hear from the inside, yes, come in.
Open the door slightly. Professor Gradius.
He turns and just squints at you. You see this man now nearing like 75, 80, has been here since, he probably had your father and possibly, your father's father as a younger man. Kind of squints, puts on his glasses that he has hanging around his neck, and just, Garris, is that you?
It is. I'm sorry I'm late from returning from my great vacation.
And a nods. Have you become a little bit fatter? I can see it around your stomach there.
Likely. I have been eating more than I should have. Step in, close the door behind me.
Yep, kind of social visits or anything related to work?
Something related to work. Or my own work, in fact. You wouldn't happen to know of any shape-shifting forms that could live for 200, 300 years off the top of your head, would you? Or more? Likely something immensely powerful.
Are we talking any type of beast or
Something intelligent.
something intelligent? Dragons?
Suppose that's possible.
Is it alive? Otherwise, the Lich and other undead beings?
Yes. Unfortunately, I am not privy to that information.
Well, there are many powerful spell weavers that can prolong their lives if they are prone to necromancy. Probably
But not
are
be human. At least not from what I've heard. A little puzzle I'm trying to work out for myself.
Well, I unfortunately don't have all of the lore on top of my head.
Fair enough. I did need to come and ask you a favor, though, and I understand that it's somewhat impudent, but you wouldn't happen to have any friends down at the museum, would you?
At the museum? What for?
They have an artifact there. I'm not sure they know what they have, but it's something that would be very interesting to my studies. It's probably related in a roundabout way to the formula that I drew up for you a while back.
And pulls at his beard. I know many students who go to work there once done, but as for what it sounds like you wanting access to an artifact, no, I don't think I do.
Any chance you could put me in touch with someone who can?
He kind of shrugs a little bit. I don't know, Garris.
I understand, Professor. Did anyone call for me while I was gone?
So you just double check. Like, this man, was he what got you into touch with the people that you made it, or was he the person that you made it for?
He was a go-between, basically. Was
Yeah.
the point
So
there.
he kind of nods. Just more things from the same people that you didn't want anything to do with.
What were they asking?
Just more altercation on similar spells.
No. Not for now, at least.
I know. They did drop you off some more money.
Donated it to the university.
And I nods. He kind of raises a few eyebrows. You certain? It's a decent chunk of money.
I'll get by.
He nods. You are a good man, Garris. I am sorry that it ended up the way it did.
It has a funny way of working things out, Professor.
Yes. I can check with my colleagues if I have any ways of getting you in touch. But I wouldn't bet on it.
You wouldn't happen to have any rings of warding on you, would you?
Warding from what?
It's just a spell I learned. Requires a pretty specialized sort of ring. 2 uses connects the two people, but unfortunately I don't have the funds for it. I was hoping that perhaps one of the university students had put one together.
Are you talking about the rings needed for the spell Warding Bond?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so that's what it's like 50 gold ring. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so he would kind of like nod. I suppose since you are donating such an amount of money, then I can get you a few. How many do you need?
Something on the order of 4, I think, for now. So I understand that's a lot. If you can just give me a pair, I'll be very grateful.
He kind of smiles.
Oh, I'm very sorry. My logs for the past... Oh, gods. All of my logs. But when I left school to roughly the 15th of Sun, they're gone. I wish they weren't, but I'm very sorry. I've rewritten what I could from memory, but...
He nods. I understand. And again, the people left you a hefty amount of money, so 4 rings is the least I can do.
Right. I need to get back to it, Professor. Thank you for your time.
He nods. Where should I send the rings, or should you come back and pick them up maybe, say, tomorrow at noon?
I'd like that. It's been... I don't know. Studying here were not necessarily the best parts of my life, but it's been nostalgic being here.
I know that you, when you came here, that you were broken and a desperate man for something new, but I can see that you have found a purpose now, at least. I see some glint and a wish of life within your eyes. When you came here, you were as dull as a rock, Garris.
Adult. Yes, I remember.
Ah, there is that cynicism. It doesn't suit you good.
You're right, Professor. You're right.
Smile, lad, and enjoy the nights and days while you can. Soon, your worries are going to be about pissing in the bed because you're too old and your bladder's too weak.
Hoping I die before that day comes.
Well,
Just death. I don't think we can ask for much more.
fate didn't grant me that. Here I am. Well,
No,
Have a
you're
good
still
dose.
young enough yet. You too,
Mhm.
Professor. I don't.
The other three, as you're kind of milling about and such, I think Navin and Cohen, at one time, like, you just kind of stop and you kind of just like shake your heads, you go back, and there, just in the front, in a cache, is a piece of the shard or a piece of the tablet, just there, open on display.
To like look at it and then am I dreaming? Like nudge Cohen and then small point, quick point towards it. You see it as well.
Yeah. Suddenly, like, all my enthusiasm just goes right back
Yeah.
up, and I'm
Yeah.
right back into it. So
And then look around see
Yeah.
where Eli is and try to make visual and then
He sees you and heads on over.
Do you see when it very poorly, not very good at subterfuge,
You see this very thin, this is probably one of the smaller shards, probably the size of a palm or so. And you see it has, this is the first one that you see has a single rune or letter inscribed in the top right part of it. And it's noted, marked on the outside of this cache. It's ancient piece of tablets, origins unknown, more than 6,000 years is written on it. Which, for any historian, is they didn't really make that. So this would then make this the oldest find of any language there is, which is odd. But, I mean, it might be right.
Do you see the tablet? I guess if there's a plaque, I guess that's looks like what we're looking for.
Seems about right. Somehow I thought it would be harder to find in here.
I guess if they
But
see the value
It's a
in
museum.
it, yeah, they see the value, another value, I suppose. It'll make taking it the more difficult. Well, I suppose we'll keep looking for things, but I assume there's only one shard in here, right?
From what Anton told me and from my own investigations, my understanding is that there is only one in Ballora.
Well, we know where the target is, at least. That's the easy
Should,
part, I suppose.
Maybe find your friend Garris.
Fine.
Give Cohen some more time to run around.
Aye.
Seemed a bit happier.
no, I'm no, that's
Just as you say this, you see the tour come in, and they start speaking about this piece of stonework, and it's just this was made 1,000 years ago in the start of the northern part of the kingdom of, probably
Yeah,
move
standing
a
inside,
bit closer.
yeah.
Bit
I want
closer.
to. I want to, but I'm not. I'm
Okay.
fighting all of my urges to do it, even though.
Roll me a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage,
Yeah.
please.
Okay.
DC 15.
Okay.
So disadvantage is hold control first, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry, it didn't work. I'll just do it again. There we go.
It does work, you muppets, but it's fine. 14? Yeah, no. You see Cohen scooch,
Yeah.
scooch, Scooch.
I
And then, like, he's
shouldn't.
looking at you guys, but he's listening at the other thing
Yeah.
entirely.
I suppose there's no rush, since we don't know where Garris is at the moment and how long he'll take. We'll give it a bit more time, and we can maybe not be as suspicious, but we'll meet
Fine
him
by
at the
me.
tavern. If there's anything
I
else
can
you
do a
need to do,
few. Not at all. I can do a few laps of the museum if you want to go on the tour as well.
I saw some interesting items over there. I might take a bit of a look at some weapons that were intriguing, to say the least.
Alrighty.
I'll be around, but I won't leave until we all gather up again. But let's go and enjoy it.
Yeah, the dinner
well.
sounds good. Yeah.
Just like, like thumbs up, yeah, yeah, go on, sure.
So just before we take a break, I will just describe a little bit what each of you are seeing. As you are spending a larger amount of time here, you do kind of get to see a lot. And in one of the wings, Eli, you see a large, rectangular painting that kind of stretches along. It seems to have been stitched actually with cloth, so it's a very long ass time took for this. And you see how it says underneath the thing, it would say the legendary Karga fighters against the shadows, and you would see this like battle with several heavily armored people with these like what do you call it, capes that look like shadows, like they're moving in a very like supernatural way. You would see like the shadows, the sun is in front of them, so the shadows would be behind them, but it looks like their shadows are charging in front as well with them. And you see like both these paladins and then the more like monkey people are moving towards these like big beings of shadows as they're like seemingly to clash. And then you have like the second part is like where the shadows and these fighters are like clashing in the middle. There's just this battle, and then you see the last segment where they stand victorious, and you see the colors are more brighter and like they haven't lost a single man, or just standing there victorious. And roll me a perception.
Stalker is coming to kill the party.
I will lean on my staff and just spend the entire remaining time just studying and looking at this painting.
Okay, so then I
perception,
think you would definitely see in one of the yeah, that's perfect. In one of like in the painting, in like one of the back ends, you would see this like ebony staff that turns into a javelin, and how it's being used in this fight. And it like bing kind of deal like in your head as you see this being used. And it's like, yeah, there's some recognition for you kind of deal. For Navin, you as you are moving about, you see a lot of weapons, like not a lot, sorry. You see a smaller section of weapons, very intricate, that have runes on them as well. Not as many as the one that you have, but you would see like these weapons seems to have been given as a present or a gift from the dwarves many years ago when they didn't have as many problems with the goblins as they did, and they seem to have been a gift to some noble family or similar that then probably fallen into ruin or sold these things off to cope. But you notice like some of them, you cannot recognize some of the runes that you know yourself. The frost rune, the fire rune, and also possibly like shielding and such. So you, with your modest grasp of the runic language, you see like the power in these, and you see depicted next to it is a hammer, and we're talking like a smith's hammer. And like as you're looking at this and kind of getting closer, you notice how like your hammer in your sheath is kind of like vibrating and reacting to it, just thrumming and humming with power at this. And it would be like, the description under like this mighty tool is what the dwarves used on their flux forges to create these runic weapons.
Yeah, so like, can I see the hammer also vibrate, or is that, can I know it's what's causing it, or do I like?
Yeah, you don't see. Roll me a perception, to be honest.
I know there's something sort of in the area, I guess, like, but I don't know which.
It would be, playing cold, moving to the right side of the cache where there's the weapons, it wouldn't vibrate as much, and then moving left to, with a 10, absolutely, like, it takes you some time, but like, kind of just checking absolutely that it's this hammer.
Yeah. Interesting. I sort of like memorize and just spend most of my time like memorizing the runes on the thing and like the dwarves and the information about them.
Roll an intelligence to see how well, because there is one rune that you don't know that is described on a weapon that you could, I guess, try later on.
Intelligence check.
Nice.
Not too bad.
Yep. Write up, just for now, like rune of X, and then we'll get to that later. Cohen, for you, it's just, taking in as much information as possible, just seeing, listening, touching. They, at one point, like, they would get you to, when they have busts.
Yeah.
So they would remove, so you can go up and, touch and feel the materials. And one of them, like, there is a set of these three emperors when there was time during, now it's like 1,000-ish years ago during the Holy Daring Dominion, when there was actually three sultans, like they were triplets, they ruled together. And somehow this sculptor have made it so when you like touch one of them, it feels like water. The other when you're touching fire, and the other one when you're touching ice. And it's just like...
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm trying to figure out what the hell they do with that. Like, oh my god, I'm just standing there a little bit too long, I think.
Yeah, like you're a good sculptor, but like the level from being good and on this level, it's wide as fuck. I think later this afternoon, I think Garris, that they would be here. So when you kind of go back to the tavern, you notice they're not there. Would you join them there, or would you? Yeah. So you also would kind of go around and see all of these things, and both for you being like both a member of the Spellweaver community and having been like very in Battling War, there's a lot for you to watch and see, and just battles. They would have like depictions of strategy where they would show like this is the two armies and like this is how they move to manage to overcome and everything, and it's just like. This place is just for somebody that enjoys history and enjoys larger part of it. It's small hard on as all of you are walking through this.
Big on, but okay.
And I think with that we're gonna take a short break and get back to it. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in 15 minutes maximum.
Okay. Yeah. See you soon. Hello.
I hope I timed that perfectly. Welcome back, peeps, as we continue this session in the City of Splendors. We are...
Fucked.
Sorry, that was a long burp. Moving northward from the Grand Halls of Equitae to the Swan Neck, where the players can sit down and kind of talk. Also, Garris, you would have been shown the tablet after you have arrived, so you all know where it is, and that, I mean, sure, it's right there. You could probably, break the glass, take it, and run, but
The entire city in martial law on our heels. Yeah. Really?
it's not martial law anymore, but it's as close as you can get because there's a lot of guards outside.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. What is martial? What is that?
Martial law is basically you're not allowed to be outside of your house. It might be varied. It might be you're not allowed outside after dark, or just you're not allowed outside your house, period. And only guards and such are allowed. It's basically to force people into not being in the way when important military things are happening.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Basically, the city occupies itself more. That's right.
Okay, yeah.
I understand.
Thank you.
Okay. So you all gather back at the Swan Neck. The tavern keep very much remembered what Garris wished for this morning. So he kind of walks over and we have some roasted duck if you want, sir.
Excellent. Thank you very much. You wouldn't happen to have any gravy to go with this?
Nods, of course.
You also have any roasted asparagus? I'll take that as well. Oh, and again, you wouldn't happen to... Would you happen to have a bottle of Chardonnay? No?
He looks and nods.
If you could bring that as well, that would be most appreciated.
He looks to the rest of you. I'm assuming you ordered basically the same.
Yeah. What's on the
and you get a beautiful plate with some roasted duck, asparagus, and yummy things. As I'm realizing that we're more or less, or I am almost turning into this dinner thing with my juices and with my yams and with all of the description of food. But I don't know why, but I just very much enjoy the thought of food in another world and era with all the different spices and everything, and just imagine if they just put a bit of magic to sap your tongue or something as you're drinking water to make it sparkling water without sparkles, and it's all of these weird ass ideas. But
A thunder drink is what they call it when it's sparkling.
Oh, thunder drink, yes. So you get probably a bottle of Borland would be what they give you. It's a white wine that has a very peachy taste to it. And you sit there and enjoy this as halfway through or so, you see how Christoph walks in through the door and kind of sits down, and you see he's put on his pompous clothes, so he looks like a noble, but he doesn't move like it. He moves still like a ranger, but he has these flashy, silky clothes that just colors all over. He has all the rings on, the necklace and everything. Just walks over and you see this bored ass face as he just sits down. He looks over to Navin, takes your plate away from you, takes a few asparaguses and then pushes it back.
I sort of stand and do a mock, oh, my lordship.
I do the same thing, but not sarcastically.
Yeah, just very.
I just right away.
He kicks you in the shin, I think, Owen, as you do it seriously. Just sit down. Barkeep, could I please have a plate of whatever they're eating as well? Some extra asparagus, please.
You wearing the family crest might actually mistake you for a noble.
Well, some reason
But
this opens up a lot of doors.
Any luck?
We have a meeting, but he kind of sits there and then just very auspiciously turns his head up to Eli. I don't think we need to set it up.
How's that?
According to the description my friend gave, this is the man that came in and spoke about assassination.
So,
Eli looks embarrassed.
would you wish to enlighten us?
Certainly wish to drink a bit more beforehand.
I understand.
Could we have another bottle of bourbon, please? You see the barkeep kind of comes out with, like, one of these tinier bottles, and like he then like turns. He hasn't seen Christoph. He turns and like he sees Christoph. He turns back, takes like the biggest bottle, and comes out with it. So like you have this like 2.5 liter wine bottle that's just like massive, sitting there, and he like nods and like, my lord, anything else? He's just like.
Yeah, Snickers every time.
You see, like, he takes, like, a coat and, like, pulls it over his clothes so he looks more raggedy than he did before. You sure you don't want to switch lives with me, Garris?
I would jump for the opportunity, but I doubt that it
I know.
survive.
You don't have the hair. It's the hair, everything in it.
Exactly. But that rag's nest, I can pull it off.
Well,
You didn't get too much harassment, did you?
no, of course not. It's just the usual. The moment I step in, it's like, oh, Christoph, why don't you marry my daughter? Join our houses together.
Why haven't you married? I would have expected you to run off with a commoner by now. Some romantic dribble or such the bards tend to battle.
You see him hurt at this, and I think that Navin, he would have probably told you a story, but you see him like very hurt, and you probably know where this story has come from also, but Garris, he hasn't told you. He just feints it off, gives you a smile. Well, being the head of the family and marrying would be distasteful. I just wait for my father to fall off the throne and have my brother instilled, and then I'm free, I guess.
So you hope.
Hmm?
So you hope.
Yes. I mean, if my father has his wishes, he will find me, drag me back. He will probably kill himself and then have me put on the seat anyways, and then there's nothing I can do. So I am going to keep away for as long as possible.
Your brother ruling the family would not be good for anyone, I do dare say.
No, he is a wimp. But I had a longer talk with him, and I think that this might do you some good as well. I'm thinking of forcing them to put my sister as the head. And then when my father dies, as the head of the family, she can marry whoever she wants.
Why is it you don't want to rule?
Well, I enjoy... Like, he probably gestures to the three of you, not Garris. Your kind of people. I enjoy being free, saying what I want and what I think of, being able to sit and laugh in a tavern and not be treated with respect that I haven't earned.
Now, more than ever, however, seems to be the time when a person like you, that understands people like us, should be in power.
Yes, I know, but if I were to abandon you will only have Navin to close whatever portals is open to the Shadow Realm, and Navin does a very shitty job at it.
Well, you'll have to teach me, but sooner or later you'll have to go find someone, I suppose.
When the portals are closed, when the realm is at peace, when we need somebody to take the reins?
Listen. If some godforsaken reason Henrik asks, or Herman asks for me to take the throne in Ballora, I would, undoubtedly. But I will not be the head of my family. I will rather leave my sister to it, because that means that you, Garris, can also be happy. I know that you still love her, and I know that she loves you.
Oh, and a magician cripple at that will not reflect well on your family's heritage in this political climate. She knows that.
Yes, but the old cults sitting in power are all about to die within the next decade, so what does it matter?
It matters immensely.
For
We both
who?
know that. The realm.
So, the realm can finally understand that spellweavers are useful and not something to be hated and distasteful. You know that Herman keeps several spellweavers for council, and they have all been appointed to very high positions within the council. And whilst the nobles might be muttering and butting heads, they have to still give it to them. I mean, without it, then they would probably have had Herman's head several times, all of the assassins that has been sent.
Perhaps. But would the assassins have been sent if he hadn't taken the spellweavers onto his council? That is the question I ask.
You're always so goddamn cynical, my friend. That is why I preferred being out on the field with Navin. Look at him. Give him a few beers and then he has that wide-ass smile on him all the time.
Here. Drinks to that.
But I feel like we're getting away from the topic a little bit.
Yes, we are. Did you find anything?
It's sitting in a museum. I have no idea how they
It's
got
what?
it. It's sitting in the museum.
Just like
Yes.
right there.
Yes. I have no idea how they took it from beyond the shard. It seems to have been related to a battle that may or may not have been fought here a while ago. It is sitting there. I am hopeful that I'll be able to get in talks to acquire it legally from, well, the curators. You
With
could
what
give them
money?
yourself with it. Pardon?
With what money, Garris, are you going to buy it off the museum?
Maybe that's where you come in and sort of give him a slight nudge.
Ah, right. I am only here for my money.
Also,
Well.
your personality. That it is somewhat enjoyable to have. Sorry, Cohen.
No. What?
What?
No.
No? Alright.
I was just shaking my head at when he was saying that he was only there for his money, or for the money. I was like,
But he turns to Eli again. You have some explaining to do.
Assassination of the prince.
He pushes another glass of wine over towards you.
Eli necks that wine before you even see it.
You said earlier that the only way that they could have dropped martial law is if they caught the assassins, or if they already knew they weren't going to catch them in the first place.
Yes.
I'm assuming it's the latter, right?
I don't know. But all I heard was that this man showed up weeks prior to the assassination, saying that it was going to happen. And hold and behold, it did.
Very interesting.
Very much like to know who you heard that from.
When you were in and talking to, what's her name, Elisa, one of my
Emilia.
friends was in the room next to and happened to overhear it.
Right. Maybe not today, but at some point I'd like the name of your friend.
Why
night's
that?
been- That night didn't end particularly well for me.
And
I-
nods.
You're aware?
She might have also told you what she overheard after you left.
Someone's at fault.
Yes.
I intend to find out who. Garris, Kristoff here is correct. I arrived in Ballora prior to the assassination of the prince. I sought out some friends, some contacts that I'd had dealings with in the past,
Descriptive.
warning them. Pardon?
Descriptive. Go on.
I brought word of a fear, suspicion, that the prince was going to be assassinated. It's brought me nothing but trouble. Next to no one believed me, and even those people that I thought did. Actions speak louder than words, Garris. Trust was broken. If I hadn't run into Antoine when I had, well,
That's
said
one
about
that to
that
deal with
later.
this.
Nothing to do with the assassination, but he saved me from the fallout following me spreading word about it.
He suspected the pommels. Why?
I drink more wine.
Roll me a con save.
All right.
He's gonna do insights check, see if he's lying.
Absolutely.
If you want.
Why not?
Where's my con at? There it is.
Nice. Roll me a charisma as well, Mr. Eli.
Alrighty. Did my con roll?
I think it came now, maybe? Nope.
Oh, yeah. Nope. Oh. What was the other one you wanted from me, sorry?
One charisma check and one con save.
Charisma. Check.
Nice. Cool. And con
save.
Nice. Good rolls. Yeah. Whilst this is very good wine, it's something that, whenever there would be lower nobles coming over to the pommels, this is what would be served. Like, this is the lowest tier of acceptable wine to give to any of, high birth. And for somebody that's it's there, but you can't taste it. It just tastes like ash in your mouth at the moment as they're pressing you for this answer. But your head is so clear, and 5 glasses in, this ashen taste, it's not taken in your head, be it that blood rate and just everything going very fast, or if it's something else. And as for the both of you, there seems to be a lot of emotions behind what he's saying. There seems to be parts that he doesn't want to say, possibly parts that aren't, entirely truthful to him, to the emotions that he's feeling. I think that for somebody that you've just met and with all of the display, it's extremely hard to tell whether or not Eli is telling the whole truth, part of the truth, or anything at the moment.
Are you can you predict things before they happen?
I wish that I could, Cohen. I wish that I could. No, I
Okay.
come from up north.
North.
Pommel. There were 7 to them?
No, but I've worked near them. My suspicion came from that. I have no evidence to show. Like I said, it's brought me
Conversation.
nothing but issues.
Be a reliable source if you went all this way and spent all this time here.
I'd say it was reliable.
Wouldn't happen to have been Madame Lysel by any chance.
Not familiar with the name, sorry.
Maybe she goes by other names. Young seer or soothsayer. No.
No one I'm familiar with.
Can you tell us more about the conversation you overheard? I'm assuming it's a conversation.
That I'd heard. Honestly, not that I'm not pleased to see the three of you and to hear that Anton has sent word and help south. Rather not talk too much about this for now. Not that I don't trust you all, but I don't trust you all.
You see Christoph over there?
I do.
His brother was nearly killed not 2 weeks ago for investigating matters similar to this. My arm was taken for matters similar to this. If you know of individuals that have been poking around in this respect, it would help.
It's the matter of the assassination of the prince. I don't see
know,
how
I
this correlates to Captain Briar and what he has done.
You're right. I'm sorry. I can't help but think of it as an overarching conspiracy, you know?
It
Boogeyman
might
hiding
be,
in
but
this-
when I
Okay,
first met you, you barely wished to talk to anyone that you didn't know well. We have known this man for, what, 6 hours?
I'm not myself. Forgive me.
Not a problem, Garris. I feel like none of us are these days.
More wine? Maybe talk a little bit about things we wish to have happened in our youth. Maybe that a girl or boy, or maybe that time we didn't get dragged into the Shadow Realm and lost our arm. He smiles at this and just like pours another glass of wine and like pushes the bottle over to Garris that's left and just kind of raises his hand and waves over another bottle.
Eli's eyebrows definitely shoot up at that.
So, what's the next course of action? I assume that none of us really want to steal from a highly recognized museum.
I would love to, but I think it's a very terrible idea.
Yes.
Does anybody have any ideas on that front?
I mean, suppose they won't part with it for any money. It is their business to have the items.
We could trade for something of equal value.
Do we have anything of equal value?
Oh, go on, you can make me an intelligence check. No, you don't even need to make me. So just like a piece of stone that is like rumored to be the oldest there is with any sort of text upon it. We're talking like maybe it would be the same amount of wealth as trying to find a good equivalent, like
$5
of a smaller city.
Yeah.
That is how much it is.
Priceless.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming Cohen doesn't say anything because
No, unless they. Yeah, no.
Well, even with not knowing the value, like we had to pay to see it. It's like, yeah, it's obviously worth something, and I don't think they'll.
Hogan might have had something.
Maybe.
There is the eye that Lady Ballora mentioned to us. deep in the jungles. I would like to, if it does exist and is not some ruse, which I can't imagine why it would be, I would like to have that on hand regardless. But an artifact such as that with cultural value and magical properties, I think it's possible they might take up the offer.
Maybe. They're not of a, I don't really know about the mage schools, but surely they're not really that interested. Would that not be more with your type of study than this building?
What I understand, the artifact itself has religious and magical significance, both, correct?
Ah, wrong person to ask. I don't know why.
It's just a thought. I reckon if we could find the Prince's Killer, we could also obtain the artifact as reward, probably fairly easily. Christoph. Of course, I'm throwing out random, completely implausible conclusions because this is all I can think up of.
A royal decree would probably allow us to it, but it's a difficult task to say the least.
This artifact you're speaking about.
It's the tablet.
Mentioned an eye, Garris, that was all.
If we could find it.
We saw Seer. There is an eye of a beholder deep in the jungles that is held by some of the tribesmen there. It is a long walk to obtain, and even that, there's no guarantee we could obtain it in the first place.
I'm a bit confused. I mean, I don't really know what the shards are for, but what do you do with them? That's
Conversations we've had with Antoine. Shards can be used to merge the realms, bring the Shadowfell into the material plane.
so we
Antoine's-
need to have it.
Antoine's intentions, as he states them, are to use the shards to bring Iltasuna here, and then reseal her once again.
Well, he's already here.
Not
Piece of
fully.
him. Tiny fragment.
Yeah.
The tiniest of shards.
Have you had run-ins with this Iltasuna already?
Aye,
Yep.
unfortunately.
Lost a good friend.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm reluctant.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that the mood very quickly becomes extremely like depressed as this is mentioned, and then Garris shakes it off and tries to get out of it.
Doubtless, I am reluctant to leave the city without the shard. It is foolish to believe that other parties will not come seeking it, especially now that we've seen it.
I agree.
There is always the less than savory option to take. I am hesitant to suggest it, but circumstances are extreme.
True. Even if we got it, how would we leave the city gates? You saw the guards when we entered. They were...
We don't steal the peace, rather we don't make it like we've stolen it.
We won't be able to leave with the shard, I assume. Soon as it's taken, every guard in the city will be on the look for it.
They won't look for the shard if they don't know it's gone.
Are you suggesting illusions or forgeries?
Question to the DM. Does Cohen believe that he can make a replica?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah. Then, as I realize this, my eyes just go wide, and I'm like, I could always try to replicate it and we can just replace them.
Having like
Yeah.
initially like replicate it, but we need the actual. Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you mean. That's not a
Owen
bad idea.
is a phenomenal stonemason.
Well,
One of the best I've ever seen. If anyone could create a proper copy of it, it would likely be him.
well, that was one of the things that I've done for my for
What would you need?
yeah, I need to find some sort of stone that is very similar or the same kind of stone, and that doesn't take too long. I think.
Let's slow down a bit now. If we do this and this goes wrong, we'll be criminals throughout the Empire. I don't relish the
Well,
opportunity of being dragged before His Majesty in chains.
well, I mean, this doesn't need to be a big job for you guys to be involved in, per se.
This can always be Plan B, as they say.
Well, just give me a couple of. Yeah.
It would probably take you some time to go and study the type of stone it is.
Yep.
To find like a similar, to try the cuts and to try, because like, yeah, it is involved a lot of work to make such a replica, but you know that it's doable. But we're talking like, at the minimum, probably a week's worth of working and doing things to get the first piece.
Yeah, I relay that information. And
Means of it.
as if and when we talk about the actual doing of the thing, I could always try to swap them. I just need some sort of distraction. But you guys don't have to be involved in that.
We wouldn't
So-
send you alone. We'd be there to help, by distraction or otherwise. Any means we could help.
No, I
Let's see what diplomacy gets us first. But
I mean, if you
yes.
start asking for it in a diplomatic way, then they would be able to put that together, wouldn't they?
Probably, but
How do you get something emitted into the ground halls?
It's a good idea, or a good question. Sort of look to Garris.
there's no being in the city how you would get something emitted.
Nope. You could probably find out, but you don't know at the top of your head.
I assume a curator either takes notice of an item or they bid on it with other like-minded collectors. Why do you ask? Do you think we could sell them a copy and then just ask for the other shard?
He shrugs. I was just thinking, if it's like somebody that has lent it out, or if they have bought it, it might make a difference. Because if somebody's lending it to that place, then, well, it was just a
might-
passing thought.
Might be able to find the actual owner, request it, or
I will do some research on that front. If somebody else owns it, it might be very much easier to get our hands on it.
Yeah, and he kind of tugs at his beard a bit, or sorry, at his shin. No.
What?
I think our situation will probably just end up the same as Eli's did when he was crying about the assassination. But I was just fiddling with the possibility of what if we find the person that owns it and simply tells them the truth?
And it's
But-
possible they would hand it to us. It's possible they wouldn't. We'll give it a shot regardless.
Yes, it's just problematic if that someone doesn't hand it to us and instead thinks us some lunatics, and we end up, yeah.
Or hands us a magical book and throws us in a dungeon again.
We have experience in that regard, at least.
Not to open any books from strangers, right?
Aye. Have someone else open them, maybe. Perhaps we could send a letter without being face to face. Fake name. If we find out who it is. Owns it.
It's not face to face. I don't think they would take us seriously.
Send a letter from Gavin.
I think they'll see through that ruse quite easily.
I mean, they don't know you, do they?
True.
The
They
lie
won't give a
is
shit
just...
about it either.
No, the lie is always best when it's close to the truth.
True.
The truth hasn't worked well for me so far. But more so I worry that if our diplomatic route doesn't work, then our faces and our names will be known. When comes time for, let's
We'll
say,
pray.
very illegal options.
Then we pray we do it really, really well.
I mean, I can probably go and buy myself a long wig, put on a bra, put some potatoes or something in it, and put a dress on.
That's what you're doing with your free time, huh? Never knew.
Eli takes his hat off, puts it on the table between us all, says, perhaps this may help.
So look at it like,
Perhaps.
it's a good start.
So puts it on. He like looks around, like takes like probably the shells of lemons or something, puts it inside his shirt, and like does a very poor imitation. Ah, look at me! I am Christina.
Oh, God! Where did Christoph go? All of a sudden.
Eli takes his hat back, puts it back on, and you watch as he transforms and looks the spitting image of Cohen. And then back to Eli and takes his hat off.
I've had way too much to drink. He says, "I'm going for another glass."
Sort of look more at the hat, like see if there's like something inside. Like,
He pulled the Cohen out of the hat.
There aren't very many hatted disguises running around at the moment. Too sensitive a topic?
I've seen one before.
Like I said, Antoine's been good to me.
That would explain it.
Well, I guess we only need a story if we can create a face. Or
You have two
someone else's.
nobles between us. I reckon we can write something up.
Aye.
Sorry, 1.5, Christoph.
What do you mean? I am Christina. Cohen, just a weird question.
Yeah.
Like your bag and everything, where would you have those things when you don't have them on you? Or would you like always have it on? I'm thinking like that in the tavern and such.
Yeah, always.
Like on you, so you're literally just sitting with it. Do you have like in your bosom or something?
By my side.
Okay.
Do you mean the?
Your backpack.
Yeah, it's by my side. Yeah. Yeah.
Eli, would you care to join me for some investigation tomorrow? Actually, it might be better if we all do this. Start looking into who exactly owns the shard. If it's the museum, so be it. But if it's a private collector, we'll see if we can't get a meeting.
We only have one hat, though, right? Any inquiries we make will leave a trace.
Christoph pulls out like a basket, puts it on. I have a hat as well.
Yes, Christina, but you are extremely recognizable.
What do you mean? Is it my beautiful, beautiful bosom?
It might have something more to do with the beard that's coming up. I want to shave that off.
What do you mean? Women can't have a beard?
It's just a remarkable feature is all. That and the deep voice, the arms that are the size of trunks. The other matters that are...
Sure, the court
Well.
jester would appreciate your appearance.
Thank you. Now, I will make sure to tell my sister that whenever you two get together, that she would wear a beard because it turns you on.
Nobody say anything to her, I swear to the gods.
Which one?
I am done talking to you.
I am going to write a letter right now that you like beardy women, sir.
Christoph, please. Seriously.
Touchy subject.
you are too serious. He like takes off the melons. Puts them on the table. Yes.
Sir, I look to Eli. Do you need to see the person to be able to look like them?
Not I'm aware of, DM.
I mean, so how it is, I think that it's hard for you to, like, of descriptions, make it look like somebody, but you can always try, if they tell you they bigger nose and such, you could do it like a sketch, slowly but surely, but if you've seen them and you remember how they look, it's more like, bam, you look like that.
I had a strange thought when you say that, Cohen. I don't know, but perhaps if you could use your hat, Eli, to disguise yourself as what I assume must be one of the dozens of guards they have at the place at night.
Any blue coat.
And we had a replacement replica. You'd only need a few seconds, perhaps, to open up the compartment or the glass case and swap it out.
That does raise the issue of what if the replicas run into each other.
Well, he would have it hidden and then swap it out, of course. And of course, it would probably be found out in not too long, but it wouldn't be instantaneously as soon as we enter the place.
I'd imagine the night shift people check in and out fairly regularly. They would obviously...
But if you asked me, most of us are not as skilled at looking at artifacts and reading them. You could probably show me 10 of these, different kinds of stones with script on them, and I would not be able to pick apart which one was real or fake.
To clarify, though, my concern is that if we disguise as one of the guards, and that same guard shows up, that could raise some issues.
True. Good point.
But the guards that were posted in that area, were they the same? Did they wear the same kind of armor and everything that the city guards were wearing?
No.
No. Okay, so it was different ones.
It seemed to be private guards, yes.
But could you perhaps just look like somebody else that isn't a guard and just have the guard's clothes on?
Yeah. I presume so. It could look like a simple tourist. Walking up, make the switch, 2 people for distraction. As soon as they realize it's gone, I look like a different tourist entirely.
Yeah.
It's useless to keep speculating when we don't know enough about the specifics of how the shard is at the museum. Let's get some sleep for the night, I think, and then start investigating in the morning.
If you get enough money, you could also pay off the No. Transportation wizards. You can take the transportation circle out, so you don't have to walk through the gates, and whoosh, you're gone.
Whoosh.
I don't want to involve the college in this.
How big was the shard? Like,
hand size.
It was a hand size?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe not the thing I'm thinking of? Okay. God damn it. Okay.
GM, out of curiosity, are the shards... You could pretty easily tell the shards are magical at a cursory glance for anyone.
That the shards are Magical? No, absolutely not. Like, so for even from touch, they haven't seemed magical. That's the weirdest part of this.
Gotcha.
I
So we've just been running around collecting random stones the entire time.
Yes.
I see.
But Garris, we could always, if that's of a concern, I can just try to, I don't know, just make it seem like it's not that particular shard by just, I don't know, but wrapping it in some sort of clay to
That's a good idea.
it.
Perhaps make it the basis of another sculpture. That way, if anybody else would have come after us for it,
Yeah.
they might have some difficulty finding it initially.
Yeah, I could always encapsulate it in a vase or something like that, maybe.
That's an excellent idea, Cohen. I think regardless of how we get the shot, I think that's a good way to do it going forward.
Yeah, but
I wish we could do it without
was-
worrying about the effects of scrying, but...
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, I'm just saying that it was your idea. That it's a good idea.
No, it was not, Cohen. It
Yes,
was
it-
yours. Yours alone.
No.
You kind of turning your head back and forth, Cohen. You notice on your bag at the bottom there's a seam that has kind of gone up.
Oh my god, okay, yeah, okay, I think that somebody is trying to rob me, so I'm just gonna push in any direction around me and just grab the bag and just...
Yeah, you grab the bag and kind of whatever, like, part of the seam, like, was still holding on as you, like, reach it
Yeah.
up, like,
Yeah.
it breaks.
Yeah.
And you notice that this part that has been like sewn has seemed to be like a fake bottom on your bag, and from this fake bottom falls a letter that says Cohen on it, written in a very recognizable handwriting from Morgan.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to open it.
Let's see if I can show this just to you.
I was about
You
to have a stroke there.
should see, if you thought from Mr. D.
Yeah, I thought so too. I was like, oh
no,
my
no,
god,
no.
then I'm gonna
If you,
die.
if you go underneath player notes, there should now be one thing named letter from Morgan.
Okay, player notes. Where? Journal. Player notes. There we go. Okay.
Just seeing Cohen like, ah!
Yeah.
The dumb stuff on the ground, like, oh yeah, picked up his letter.
So,
To the plan. Perhaps we need to sleep on it more, but I don't know.
sleep. There's plenty of alcohol left.
Well, I can't argue with that. Just like,
So, Eli, my friend, my buddy boy. What is it that you do? I suppose you look fit, but
You're not
I don't know.
Christina anymore, Christoph. Just keep that in mind.
I can handle myself if that's what you're asking.
No.
No.
I can clearly see that you can handle yourself, but I mean, you must have done something. Like, was a carpenter, mason, armorer, smith, like,
Spy.
assassin, ballerina.
Eli takes another good swig of some wine, fills up his glass.
Oh, so
That's,
you were a ballerina.
Working on it. Suppose you could say emissary.
I leave the table.
Yeah.
and I go up to a room.
Yeah, you haven't
Oh.
ordered any rooms, so I suppose you go into Eli's room because that's where you were before. Yeah. Well,
Can we see
Oh,
from the way
there he
they go
goes.
into the room?
that man has seen some shit and
wondering
experienced some
what-
shit.
More than he
He-
deserved.
Sorry? Ah, yes. I thought
More
that you
than-
said that he deserved it first, and I was gonna
Gods, no.
hand you a smack. He told me, bitch, when you remember when I was wounded in the temple. Yeah, he told me about some man called Demas doing all of these things to him, and I would like. He kind of looks at Eli. At least the two of you. He points like completely missing both of you with his fingers.
So like moving away
To
from the finger even more.
man, fucking kill him. I couldn't hear what you said, Garris.
Sorry. Was he attempting to point at Eli and Navin?
Yeah, and he no to Navin and Garris, and he just like
Oh, right.
completely misses and points to like the sides. He's he's a bad guy.
What
He's
did
like
he
done.
do exactly? I assume he's responsible for the scars.
And for the mental states, like Cohen is like a child inside the man's body.
You give him too little credit.
No, I don't mean it like that. I mean it as if someone has created a cage and then forced you inside it and then locked it and then you cannot believe in yourself anymore. As if though you were the worst person on the world. That's what I believe Cohen to think about himself. I mean, you've noticed that he just complimented you for an idea that he made. He has no faith in himself, no matter what he does.
I've seen the scars before they were when we swam at Lamenta, and someone who could survive that suffering and endure it without injuries, I don't know if they would be a sane man, but it clearly has left a lot of damage. But wish we could find the one responsible for the way Cohen is now, and to pay back some of that.
Best thing to do for now is to continue supporting him as we can.
Aye.
That's what Morgan would have wanted.
How long have you known each other? How long have you traveled for? Together.
What does it then?
Well, it's a couple of months by now.
He and Navin are previously acquainted,
Alright.
but
Me.
never.
I've known this fucker for like 4 years, maybe. Pointing to Garris. Without me, he would have been dead. Very much so. Oh. But yeah, I pulled him out from a very dark place. And then we met this boy, pointing to Navin.
Yeah, sort of like waving.
Was it on our way back? Where were you? I forget.
In the woods.
In the woods? I thought we
Think
met
so.
you at... I thought it was fields.
I remember it was green. That's all I remember.
Somewhere south of the green skin crags. When Garris had been discharged.
There's no way. That couldn't be it, could it?
Ah. What are you saying, Garris?
There's the shard in the green skin crags. We know that much as much. We know that much to be present, correct?
Yes. What about it?
What if our company was sent to retrieve it, and they didn't have the right person to enter?
So wait, you meaning that they tried to manufacture you?
I don't know. But regardless, it's far too much of a coincidence, right? For there to be a shard in the cracks, and
Wait,
for that portal to be there.
I wish there was a paladin here that could remove this drunkenness. Garris! Shards attract portals. It must have been close to where we were.
The only thing to do is to go back. Start from there.
The goblins are not gonna let us.
Goblins can die. They get it own way, as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
Yes, I know that is too hasty.
well, that is good information. Anyway, I think whoever is a good friend to him should go and talk to him because he seemed very sad. And he's like pointing to Garris at this point.
Yeah.
And they're like, looks, oh no, I mean, and he points to the stairs.
I'll go check up on him. Get up from the table, start making my way up to Eli's room.
Yeah. You come up and you find Cohen like stuck under the bed somewhere deep where it's dark now. Where is he?
Crawled up in the bed. And lying down in it with my back towards the door. And just cradling some sort of letter.
This is the first time that you've seen Cohen sleep in anything that is not underneath the bed, very uncomfortable. Like, he would
Yeah.
rather sleep in a hole than this.
Garris knocks on the door. Or enter.
I don't answer.
I open it up. I first look under the bed to see if I can see Cohen. Start looking a bit panically about and then see him on top of the bed. Step in, close the door behind me. Are you okay?
I'm basically shaking at this point. I'm just shaking on the bed. I'm just like, yeah, it's full panic mode. Like, I am so uncomfortable that it's indescribable, but yeah.
Garris will move over to the side of the bed, sit on it, grab Cohen's shoulder. Cohen, are you there? What happened? What's going on?
And I hand you the letter. Should I read
Do I
it,
recognize?
or
Yeah, you can read it. I can show it and you can read it.
should I read it out loud?
Yep, do it.
Okay. We'll see if I can do this. I'm about to get married, so I'm like, oh my god, this is so much emotion. Okay.
Should I read it instead?
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, fine. I'll try and find Morgan's.
Thank you.
Hello, Cohen. This is Morgan. It feels weird writing you this letter, knowing that when you read it, I will no longer be with you. I want you to know that I love you. I love you as a brother. You are someone I always could rely on. I know you think that I meant much for you and that you needed me, but that is not entirely true. You meant so much for me. You gave me a reason to live. You were what made me want to wake up every morning and go about my life. Without you, I would have ended my life. All the time we spent together was borrowed time. I decided to give you what you gave me. Life. Your life. So please, allow me to give you this gift. I mean, I suppose that you can't really not accept it. I want you to live. I want you to go back to your fiancé. I want you to dare to be brave, to be yourself. I want you to be who you want to be. Don't be so dependent on others. Don't let them push you over. You are smart. You are kind. You are able to make the correct decisions on yourself. Believe in yourself, Cohen. I believed in you, and I will keep believing in you, even after I am gone. Cohen, you will save this world. Only you can do it. And if it comes to it, I want you to be the one who kills me. I know that you are strong enough. You just need to believe in yourself. I have placed a heavy burden on your shoulders, and I have also killed myself. I am sorry. Your life was worth more than mine. That was my decision. I love you, Cohen. And if you weren't taken, I would definitely have made a move. Live well, and don't let me down. I know that you can save the world. Love, Morgan.
Garris will start to tear up for a second. Wipe its away a tear. And then just comfort Cohen as best as he can. Try and hug him if he's accepting to that.
Yeah.
I'll be on back, Cohen. I don't know how long it will take or how much effort. But
Yeah, I just don't know what the fuck that means. Like, all of that, I don't know what that means.
he'll teach you. I swear to him, he'll teach you.
Thank you. Actually, that was one of the last things he... One of the last things he told me was that I would have to learn how to sleep in a bed, so I guess that... Well, this is that other guy's... yeah, I'm not gonna sleep in this one, but,
Let's get you to sleep, Cohen.
I'll go to...
Stay there, comfort him as best as I can until I can get him to sleep.
I think that with all the emotions, with all the pent up sadness and the deep and bottomless anger that really hasn't had a place or a name before, I think that Cohen is exhausted. And just from getting into bed, I think that it reminds you of the night before you were taken, when you got into bed with your fiance and you slept worrylessly throughout the entire night. And that single memory is something that throughout all the days of horror that you've had to endure is something that has kept you warm, and you've always been able to feel his embrace around you. And now that you've finally stepped back into this bed, you can once again feel these arms around you, and they hug you to sleep. And I think Garris, just after a few minutes, Cohen is laying there, sleeping.
Heck. Stop going in and down to the others.
Yep. You see another round of like food having been brought out, like to those who wanted it, and they're enjoying some ale and some food. Like Christoph and Navin are like so alike when it comes to their way. I think that's why Christoph has also enjoyed being with you so much.
Yeah.
Of just that's like this just simpleness, this just like be who you want to be kind of thing. You know, there's grease and spice all over the face, and like there's beer down the t-shirts and everything. And you just sit there.
Assuming
like-
that mess on, I completely forgot his name.
Christoph.
God, Christoph, yeah. Garris will look for a nearby water jug, just take it, splash it on his face, and clean it up.
Yeah, like you splash, and he's like, now I can go even longer. More water, please. And just, just like shake water up in his face again. He's like, this man can hold a drink. He kind of points to Eli, and this man, Aizawas, and pointing to Navin.
He's seeing
Eli
double that.
definitely noticed you both eating so like furiously that he moved out of like the splash zone.
Yeah, it's like very much like Garris was definitely more on your like you would see him like eat like a proper noble and like drink and everything, you know, all the cutlery in the right way. So probably more, you know, your kind of way. But these two barbarians are just going ham at it.
U10 what? We don't need that.
So, how was he?
He's stronger.
Good.
Needs a bit muscle, I suppose. You are so gloomy. Just come sit, Garris. Navin was just telling us a story about when he saw the ogres as a boy. You should listen to it. It is very encapsulating.
Joke.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Navin.
Gather around. Good.
Like you see, like this other drunk guy just kind of like come and just like sit down and like, oh, is this somewhere? Oh, thank you for this.
So there I was, out on the hilly fields, me and the other local young ones, out on adventure, climbing trees, looking for hidden treasures. And then we saw them far out in the distance, towering like big.
Giants? Houses?
Where?
Mountains.
Oh, yeah, watch out for giants and ogres. Bad. They can be bad if you don't approach them right.
I guess
Right,
that's the
wait.
story. Well told, Dylan.
Oh, a story.
You were
Look
sure
around.
you saw ogres on the hilltop. Your friend.
yeah.
No, he said it was giants. He said it was giants. It like
giant ogres.
Christoph slaps this random guy. He's like, no, he clearly said it was gorgons.
And they're like, "Are you talking bad about my friend?"
He like looks this random. Can I? And he just like bends over to take more of the alcohol. Well, I have a story for you.
Oh gods, we are fucked.
It is great and grand. You ready?
Does it involve
For
me?
what? For what?
The story.
Yes.
So, it was a clear night. Was it? I'm not certain. Anyway. Your your mama's so fat she rolls out of the bed.
You got me again! Oh. Sort of splash some beer on him and
I think both of you are done for tonight. Let's
Like he like his hands. My name is Johnny. Hello,
Johnny who?
Just Johnny. Johnny. I don't know what my surname is at the moment. Johnny's the name.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. I shakes his head. And you see like Christoph just like looking around, equally as drunk. Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you would want shared this evening, or shall we put this one to an end?
Drink until we pass out.
Yes, absolutely.
Eli,
Johnny is there
definitely.
with you to the end.
Nice.
Eli.
Johnny. Eli definitely uses the evening to size up the people that he spent the day with.
Yep. I
You
think
find one of them in your bed.
I think Garris would say that sometime during the evening, probably.
I'll attach you onto your room.
He's
Looking-
welcome to stay there.
Sorry.
Thank you.
When you see Christoph, like you find yourself fit and lean and such, and I think at one point it probably comes to a bit of wrestling and all of these manly things that men do when they're drunk, and like Christoph is very outwards humble and doesn't seem like much, but like you notice straight away when it goes like into competition, like this boy is fierce. Like he probably matches you in like every physical way and bests you in it. And then you have Navin, who is just extremely brute, like definitely knows how to handle the weapons and attire that you can see on him. Garris, I mean, you see him. You see the underlying physique of somebody that used to be very strong and very trained, but now there's a bit of a layer of fat above it, and it's not rigorous training that it used to be. Like probably has some good knowledge, but as for what you know now and from what you've heard, probably doesn't use the martial part of his past life as per previously. But you will notice quite quickly. As for speed, they are like would never have a chance against you. Like that is the one area that you can see from the way that they like are walking and stuff. Like that's just one thing that you do kind of see is a bit funny. Is both when Navin and Christoph is walking, is that they have a very special way of walking. Like neither of them really make any sound as they're walking, and it's just kind of built into them. But it just looks weird how they're placing their feet, but you never really hear their steps, and it's just like weird. But yeah.
Right.
Okay. So the night is spent drinking, observing, sizing up, and dreaming of home. And as people start passing out and other people retire back to their new rooms, I'm assuming that Eli probably like goes in and gets his stuff, or do you leave it?
So long as I've got my hat and staff with me,
Yeah.
the rest of the stuff I just leave in the room.
Yep, then you leave in the room. You get like another room, like 3 rooms down or something, and then you sleep. Should we make it? Yes, we are definitely going to make it as a cliffhanger as we are about to end today. You would see toward the end of the night, just before like you're all retiring, the door opens and in comes these dark-skinned warriors. They are wearing like these buckled shields with the pointed like middle to it. They're wearing sabers, turbans, and very like light but still well-made armor. They're kind of like talking to all the drunkards one by one. They seem to be showing them something, and as they kind of come by your group, they kind of walk up and ask you, like, oh, we're looking for somebody that's very important to us. We believe they have stolen something very important from our master, and they like pull up a picture of Cone. And that is where we're going to end today's session.
Whoopsie. Oh my god.
Tune in next week.
Yes. So next week, my dear viewers, we will continue
Sarah
this.
is dead.
Yeah, I think that Sarah just died. And join us to see what these men are here for and what our players can do as we continue with the mission to retrieve the tablets to stop the two planes from merging with one another. You can also find more streams and information on our Discord. If you aren't already there, then you can join us by the link in the chat. With that, I bid you all farewell for tonight.
Oh my god. Can we play on Thursday? Oh my god, I can't do this. I can't. Okay, bye. We have to raid someone. I'm sorry. Hold on, everybody. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I'm having a heart attack. I'm freaking out.
Do we need to call the hospital?
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, they're on a break. I don't care. So let's raid these guys. Okay, thank you guys. Bye. Oh my god. Seriously, can we play soon? I can't have this in my life. Okay, bye everybody. Thank you for today. 8 seconds. Sorry, it takes a little while. Oh my god, I'm gonna die.
Where's the donation link for the heart rate monitor again?
Yeah, it's down below. There we go.